great. We are streaming. We're live. Will we survive? Who knows? Um, I had a repeat of what happened on Tuesday. Not Tuesday, Monday, excuse me. I have to remind myself that it's the day it happens. It usually gets talked about the day afterward because the stream is like in the really early morning hours the next day. So on Monday, I was at my job and they asked me if I could stay later. And the shift was supposed to be, I believe, 5 hours long and ended up being over 8. Um, and that tends to happen when other people call out sick and they want to get something done quicker. And um, I just looked at like whatever. I appreciated having some more hours, but that's besides the point. I just was caught off guard by it. Yesterday I was at the job cleaning stuff. The shift was supposed to be 5.5 hours, and I had only slept for about 6 the night before and drank a monster. That's what I like to do just to kind of give me some more energy. I feel like it helps me, just my opinion. But I'm like, all right, 3 hours in, 3.5 hours in, I'm getting there, getting closer and closer to being done so I can go home and, I guess to my shack and and rest after putting in a hard day's work. And that same manager comes up to me and he asks if I can stay longer. And I, after some deliberations, because it's hard for me to, and I've explained before, when you have to you have like no support, period. It's hard, even if you feel tired, to turn down more hours of work. It's difficult. Like, it's just, even as I'm kind of like signaling, like, I'm like, all right, fine, because I just can't will myself to be like, oh, more money? Yeah, like I'll take that. I can't do it. And I was feeling tired. I was, throughout the whole shift. But I just realized about myself that the reality is, no matter how much I may think I'm tired, um, the way I express it, even if it's not intentional, like I don't just go around in front of people and just yawning all day long. But I've just accepted that regardless of how tired I may think I am, there's always like a proverbial second win. Um, even if I think I'm tired, there will be some burst of energy that shows me that I'm not, or at least if I am, certainly not to the degree that I thought I was. Because when I saw that first, was it that 5 hours kind of like go through, I was like, getting close to the, finishing, I think it was the third one. I was like, oh man, great. Almost done. Terrific. But as that manager asked me that question, I said, hey, you know what? I can't back out of it. I have to do this. I have to adhere to, and they always tell you don't have to stay, which, I appreciate. It takes a little bit of the pressure off. I mean, my thing is, I always try to explain that, because my biggest thing was I had like this call with somebody and I didn't want to like blow them off. I really don't like blowing people off when I schedule, because for me, I look at it in the inverse where it's like, oh man, all day I'm excited. I can't wait to talk to this person. And I'm not saying I'm someone that people would be that excited to speak to, but just like you have this expectation you're gonna talk to this person, and then hour, 2, 3 hours before it happens, oh, this thing came up. I don't like doing that. So that was the one thing that kind of had me feeling like bad. And they were understanding of it, of course, which I appreciate. But I don't like not being able to honor even like just an online commitment. Like if I say I'm going to talk to somebody tomorrow and then, hey, this thing came up and that thing came up, at a minimum, be like, okay, what about this day? Are you free this next time? Because I'm always trying to like recuperate whatever the loss was. But no, I was just sitting there and I was like, man, I can't believe I have to just. I plowed through the storm and I got those 3 extra hours. And when that was over, I went and rested. I took myself back here and I got on Discord for a little bit, talked to some guys that were, well, there were at least 2 that were decent. One I've had some kind of like light friction with in the past. And uh, then when it was time to start streaming, I fired it up. So it's been an interesting 24 hours to say the least. Now, of course, the main thing I was excited for this week was that I mentioned this before. The script for Nixon Part 1 is finished, but I just have to record and edit it. And what I guess what I find so disappointing about working a regular job is always because I always understand that with anything I do, it takes time. Like I'm gonna write the script for Part 2 this weekend. In all likelihood, I will not finish it, and that doesn't bother me because the script for Part 2 is, let's see, from what I have right now, it is okay. The whole documentary script's 18 pages right now. So Part 1 ends with page 11. So that's at least 5 pages for Part 2. And this is something that hasn't even, I don't think it's anywhere close to being finished. Like I'm doing it piece by piece, getting a little bit of this section, a little bit of that section. But in all likelihood, it's going to be somewhere around 20 pages because it's like summarizing content from 200 pages of the book, which will put us about halfway through. It's about 500, a little bit under 600 pages altogether. But I was saying that it's really disappointing to come so close to having something finished. And then there's always like this little, because even with the job, right? It's like if I had been able to either, I mentioned like having to leave and 2 hours early, right? And then also these shifts that basically just to kind of put in perspective, a shift that's 5 hours for people that live over there is 7 hours for me because of the drive. And when they do the whole "can you stay later," it means that I left, like today I left at around 12 or 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock. And I didn't get back home until 1 p.m., right? I didn't get back home until almost 1 in the morning. Again, originally I was supposed to get back at like 9 something, but they asked me to stay later. So what can you do? Oh man. But no, I'm getting through it. I have full confidence that at a minimum it's going to be out at some point this week, and then I'll try to do the weird men in their Discord leader video, and then I'll probably try to do Part 2, and after that I'll probably go back to I'll either do Carter Part 1 or Johnson Part 7. We can't forget about LBJ. We're going back to him. We reached the turning point of his career. Yeah, so like I said, Nixon Part 1 is going to take us through his early life. A lot of stuff with his parents I thought was interesting, and the loss of his two younger brothers, or of his two brothers, I should say. Um, then we'll have some sex. Just there'll be some more stuff about Pat and meeting her and his time in the Navy, and then Part 2 will be his entire congressional career. And I have to say the highlight for me, and again, I'm only in the first fifth of writing this, right? It's like this script is in its infancy, so this is always subject to change. But the highlight for me has been with regard to Part 2, the description of the 1952 presidential campaign, where after the Democrats ran their attack on Nixon and his funding, um, there were Republicans that wanted him to resign from the ticket, and that led to the Checkers speech, which is probably the most significant speech he gave prior to becoming president, I'd argue. I know when I went to Nixon Library, they played clips of it. So it's going to be a fun thing to make altogether. And then I'm even like, if part two's in its infancy stages, then part three is in its incubation stage. I think it'll be a majority of his time as VP. I highly doubt we'll get 8 years of that for one video, which I'm fine with because I'm not trying to cram it all into one vid. That's why I do it in parts so I can kind of like rest a little bit, see some progress, keep it going. Like I said, there's no way I'm not going to do a documentary on the only president born in my home state of California. Now, if Harris is able to win in November, we'll have two, but that still isn't a guaranteed thing. In fact, some people are actually doubting she'll even be able to come close to getting it. Just people are always so pessimistic about stuff. In terms of like the ones that want her to are like, oh, there's no chance. The United States will never elect a woman president. Just stuff like that. And it's sad because it's like, I've always said Hillary was just abysmal, but she did receive 3 million more votes than Trump. It's like, I don't know, like to know that I live in a country where 65 million people and a majority of voters voted for a woman for president a short 8 years ago. It's not hard to, I don't know why it's like so hard to believe, oh, another woman is running. She will also not win. It's like, hell, these losses, I mean, if the first attempt, right, was a loss that wasn't even that drastic, wouldn't that make you more motivated? Like, oh, we almost got there. Let's try this again. I don't know how people think. Just like I was saying that when you look at Jesse Jackson's 84 and 88 campaigns, they might not seem impressive now to a lot, just from a historical, from like the lens of a modern person, but at the time, the idea of an African American, only 2 decades removed from the Civil Rights Act, being able to mount a nationwide campaign for the highest office in the land was seen as a joke. And even though he lost, he still received millions and millions of votes both times. The second time even doubling and outdoing his first time. To where at one point he actually was the front runner for the nomination before they went to New York, and Coke got involved. But that's another thing to discuss. I'm just saying that Jackson is someone I'd like to talk more about. Like I said, I just I try to take my time with the stuff I'm doing because I've been in this position before. You're getting pulled in all types of different directions, and I just want to make sure that I stick to about maybe, like, let's say 12 of these as a possibility, right? Like 12 different documentaries, and then the rest of it is just like, I could do this. This is a possibility. always trying to make sure I do this stuff to the best of my ability. Um, I take it seriously. It's something I think is important, and if I take something seriously, I try to do it as well as I can. Of course, I'm not. I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to have the greatest audio or setup or whatever other trinkets that people use. But I just I still think I make an attempt. Sometimes other people don't feel that way, but I can't control what they perceive of me. Not my business to try and make somebody else feel a certain way. Oh, that rooster is back. I feel like I haven't heard it for the last few nights. And I've been going to sleep roughly around this same time, so I guess maybe it just was called out sick for the last few days. But if it did, I was going to say good riddance. It's just so annoying. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I decided to stay later. I was like, hey, less hours of the rooster. They have these cats in the front that sit up as a group and they just like they congregate at night and you just hear like five or six of them meow, meow, just making that noise and just and they're all sitting on porches and crowded up together. It's so weird. In terms of weird stuff that relate to the job, uh, same girl that was over there stealing ice cream like it was nobody's business. Saw her again today, yesterday rather. Said hi to me. Does her usual smiling routine. Um, I assisted her with something in the freezer, and she was like complimentary towards me in regard to that. But man, the whole time I was looking, I was just like, you really think I don't remember what you did last week? Just think that's been forgotten? Because some people really do believe that they like when they do something, it's as though the world stops the day after, and that thing they did just gets erased. Like, oh yeah, that didn't happen anymore. That's over. That's been concluded. It's like, no, we remember. We were there. We saw it. I was sitting right in that same room when I heard, or rather, excuse me, when I saw the larger than normal bag and put two and two together in terms of like what happened. So they really think I am just so dumb. But yeah, we've had discussions about how in a lot of instances you'll have stuff happen and you'll be like, okay, this is leading to something, right? This is going to go somewhere, right? There's a purpose or point to this, right? Um, it must have been, I think, 3 or 4 days ago. Could have been Monday, could have been Tuesday. I know it was at some point this week. There's a new girl that started working there, and we had some nice banter. And at one point, she asked me what my name is, and I say to her, "Why are you going to report me?" I guess I tried to say like kind of a joking way. She's like, "Oh no, I just just curious." And I was like, "All right, well." And then I say my name, and she says her name. Um, but I was thinking, because she's making little jokes alongside me and laughing at the various things I'm saying about her, which are all just kind of tongue in cheek. And I'm just thinking to myself, she's nice right now, but give it a few more days, a few more shifts, another month. How far is this going to go? And it's like, I don't think I'm trying or going out of my way here at all. But I guess, and I've tried to explain this to the people that don't pay attention to stuff. The reason the coworker thing disturbed me as much as it did is because there is an expectation when you talk to people online, especially women online, that it is just whatever. It's like circus, right? They're on the internet, they're saying all types of weird stuff to get your attention, but none of it's real or serious. Um, and that's why in most instances I don't let my guard down. To have someone pretend to like me, and then that turns out to be proven to have not been true based off of what they do afterward. In a real life setting where there were possible very lethal ramifications for me, is just not something I can forgive. Um, it's not something I can just pretend didn't happen. I don't bother this person. I usually don't bring it up unless it's related to something else going on where people are already aware of it. But the legacy of that 2 months of terror is that now anytime I talk to a female that works there, there's always that wonder, that it's not curiosity, it's sort of a like a sinking feeling. Like it's almost like when you speak to one of them and you see their smile, you see them ask how you're doing, you can just like visualize either a burning building or a plane that's like going down with the propeller, because you get flashbacks to how nice that other one was, and how after what, 6 7 weeks it completely eroded to where you don't even speak to her anymore, you don't even talk to her anymore, you guys don't even look at each other if you don't have to. So I can feel it, and I just don't want to have that happen with anyone else. It's not a joke to me that people really like to play games. They like to pretend that things are not as serious as they are, you know? I mean, I've talked about how, like, we're in this era where everything is do or die in terms of, are you going to be able to afford this month? Are you going to be able to afford that this month? And I have this like one relative, you're mean. It's like, do you not understand that a person who is afraid for their survival is probably not going to be that concerned with your feelings? I mean, just, but even as I sit here and make these comments, I'm very serious when I say that there are people who truly think that those around them are just these subservient, inhuman objects for them to play with. You know, they have this thing where, oh, I should just tell this guy that I don't want to go see a movie with him. I think I'd rather not say it and waste his time. And then, oh, he wants to make fun of me for not being able to just say something that any person who was remotely reasonable would be able to do. Well, I think I'll try to get him fired. I found it so interesting. Like I look at these, I go back to that comment section that was on the on Everything Started Crumbling, right? But even before that, the one on the train wreck of trying to be friends with a woman video, it's like I know in my heart of hearts, and nobody can convince me otherwise, that if the situation were reversed and there was a person, it doesn't have to be a woman, if there was a person who I agreed to go see a movie with and I stood them up at the last minute, nobody would defend that. Nobody would say, oh, it's okay, you got a little tired, oh. And what I thought was interesting is that I go back to that comment section, I'm like, it's so crazy that you have a situation where it's pretty like I feel like any person would be upset or disappointed that they were excited to do something with somebody and another person pulled the umbilical cord or ripped the cord out the wall or whatever at the last second. But and it's almost like these people, these guys rather, these ghoul guys. There's some part of them that knows, like, yeah, that's not okay to do to somebody, right? Because no one in the comment section actually says, oh, it's okay that she stood you up. Nobody like writes that out. But again, it's not enough to say, it's not enough for them to just directly go, yeah, that's screwed up. I think I saw one guy condemn her doing that. That's pathetic. It really is. I mean, I tell you, what are we just as people when something screwed up happens and we can't criticize it? Like, you'll see more people criticize me for doing a goddamn video, which is not hurting anyone, right? Then you will see people criticize someone for having a kid that they can't afford, right? That's like a major screw up, or something minor like not going to see a movie with somebody that they said they would. And I kept thinking, I always say I criticize behavior that I just don't think is right or dumb or whatever term you want to use to describe it. At my job, I've had two guys who I have done out of work stuff with. One of them I went to the mall with, another one I went to movies with. And it went swimmingly. I have had multiple guys who will send me little messages. I'll write them back something. I haven't been doing this much recently because I've just been so caught up with all this crazy stuff. It just seems like every day there's a side quest or a mission or some other thing that just pops off to where I do sometimes forget to just look at text messages with random numbers. But I said, isn't it crazy that like I can talk to 5 different guys from my job. I can talk to 10 different guys from my job. I could talk to 15 different guys. And not a single one do I run into these issues that I have with women. Now, with the Discord women video, there's going and rather, or should I say, the response to that video. There's a guy who was like, "You just have too high expectations for strangers," and somebody was like, "What did you expect going on Discord, thinking you could have a good conversation?" But in all seriousness, when you peel behind the nonsense, I have met multiple guys in the past 2 months that I've gotten along with on there very well. Um, and that's why I was saying that there is a pattern where in which when I have personal, and I'm not talking about stupid YouTube trolls or people making 50 accounts to talk to me. There's none of that weird stuff. But when I have actual dialogues with other men, it could be online, it could be in person. I don't see this problem. Now, I'm not saying I get along with every single guy I meet, but there's not going to be a day where a man tries to get me in trouble at my job because I made fun of him in like light teasing, like, "Oh, you said you're going to do this, but you didn't do it." There's not going to be a guy who, instead of just saying, "I don't want to go see a movie with you," I'll let you know, I'll let you know, I'll let you know. There's not going to be a guy who says he felt uncomfortable because I stood next to like that stuff doesn't happen with men. And I've tried to explain this before. When you have a group of people that can get you in trouble for anything, it's another reason why I and other men are disenfranchised and just generally disincentivized from wanting anything to do with women. Like it's that obvious. Where if you're gonna get in trouble for stupid stuff, that's really not that big of a damn deal. Then you're gonna say, okay, well, you know what? Forget it. I'm done. This is over. We're through. And who could blame you for being done with them? Who wants to deal with that? It's just so weird, man. I'm just looking at these hours, 3:30 to 12 o'clock, man. I was like, I'll go home eventually. I will at some point return to my house. Could be tonight, could be tomorrow morning, could be the next day. You just never know, unfortunately, with a lot of this stuff. People just keep calling out sick and singing "I don't want to go to work" song. I'm like, hey, I'm all for it. You won't see me complaining. Hours are hours. And they let me walk home with a lot of them today and on Monday. Well, yesterday and on Monday. The week was we call it. The week had bookends of shifts that were extended because other people want to come to work. They gave me a whole extra 6 hours. That's a literal additional day of work just from more hours on those 2 days by themselves. That's really surreal. I remember being real disappointed about the hours I was getting. I think that was the week before, probably like 2, 3 weeks ago, when it was like a whole week where they only gave me 2 shifts. But things seem to be looking up. That's the one bright spot. And trust me, we don't get that many of them. So They come so far, few and in between. Of course, given the nature of tomorrow, I can't help but be reminded of him. I always try to explain to people that I have had others who will mention some person that they've lost, couldn't live without, etc. Um, and in every case where that has happened over the past 6, very soon to be 7 years, I have always said to them, little next to nothing at all, because I genuinely and truthfully cannot give a positive or uplifting answer on when that person can expect to move on or get over it or just anything that is speaking of the idea that they will at some point no longer have this bother or haunt them. I just can't do it, because for me that's not how it has been. When you have a person who you see every day and you do things with them, they drive you places, you go and get something to eat together, they ask you what your opinions are on whatever the given issue of the day is. Sometimes you just sit in a chair listening to them as they talk about their past and how it relates to some current thing you're dealing with. And all of a sudden, you can't call that person anymore. All of a sudden, you can't feel them. All of a sudden, you can't look them in the eye. But you can still, years after you've last seen them, visualize them standing in front of you, hear their voice protruding from the back of your head to the front of your memory. It stings. And I've had to deal with it not once, not twice, but 3 times. And it's, I always said, like, I just don't understand. Like, I talk about how I would, in a hypothetical, and this is a hypothetical, it's not something that I'm saying will happen. It's something that, if I'm just being uplifting, I would say, hey, this is like a dream of mine. I would like in a hypothetical to make content on here and get paid for it to some amount where if I wanted to, I could just have this as my job. Again, I don't think I'll ever get to that point. I'm just telling the truth, but just hypothetical. But I said, what's the point of having dreams, of having long-term goals, desires, things you want to see accomplished on your end or whatever, if there doesn't seem to be any semblance of fairness between gains and losses? Like, I told you, sometimes I go out, it could be to a park, a mall, a museum, and I see couples with their kids, or sometimes a dad with his son or daughter. Um, I see that in my job too. And I really do sometimes just sit there. I don't make it like obvious, but I'll just like look, let's just glance for a second. I'll think to myself, why can't I have that? Now, if you're a cynical jerk, uh, buffoon, you'll come on here and go, you can't have it because you don't have game. But as we've discussed before, stuff is more complicated than any of the things that these clowns online try to say that it is. And one of the problems that we've run into is that so many, like modern, especially like American women, just do not want kids. And like sometimes you'll have women, like you'll have girls who are either barely legal or even like under, like I've seen girls online who are like 17, 18. I don't want kids. I don't want kids. And I said, well, when I hear that, and again, I'm not talking about this particular because, like I said, I'm just dealing with different women I've liked romantically. But when I hear that, it's like, okay, well, what path forward is there for me? Like we talked about how I had this girl from another country about 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that she liked me romantically, and I've heard women online say so many different things to where I just can't take any of it seriously anymore. But even if I did, I said I'm going to enter a long-term relationship with some girl over the computer, and then if I meet her, I guess with the goal of eventually meeting her, while also compromising and not receiving what I want, which is to have a family. So it's like, what again, like how is that beneficial to me? And this goes back to what I said, when I say why can't I have this, it's not just, oh, you couldn't get a woman to like you. It's like you can get all types of chicks to say, whatever, but if they don't want to have kids, well, then there's no reason to even pretend that this is going to go anywhere. And I've asked this question before: why do you have to give up your dream, your goal, your desire to be with one of these jerks? Like, I like what? Why? What incentive do you have to do that? Are you so desperate to not be by yourself that you'll take anything? But no, I see this stuff just all the time. And I always try to say that, like, because again, maybe some things aren't easy for other people to understand. We all have had different experiences, whatever. But I've tried to say that when you have, over the span of a short number of years, had people that you have loved, cared about, in multiple cases, seen every day of your life, really couldn't imagine life without them, just dropping, passing away, in some cases abruptly. You didn't know they were sick until a month before. Uh, it was fatal until a few days before. It's just, you see that, and then you look at this whole thing with these girls, right? This one doesn't like you. This one likes you, but she lives hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away in some foreign country, and she doesn't want to have kids. This other one says she likes you, but she doesn't want to date and doesn't want kids. This other one says she likes you, but she also lives in some other country and she doesn't want kids. It's like when you see the continued and furthered absences of the few people that you did care about, and there seemingly being no ability to create new life, not to replace them, but at the very least to like show some sign of progress, like you're still gaining something, right? Well, then if you don't gain anything, because in all of its nuance, these girls and these different women that say they like you all share the commonality of not wanting kids or whatever you know their lie this year is. It starts to look to you that there really isn't anything left for you. Yeah, this person, I saw them on Discord and I thought they were sending me a message or something. But it turns out it's just a message in their server. It's fine. Oh damn, they all went to sleep. Okay. But I was was saying, like, one of the reasons that people like to grow old, they like to, uh, age or whatever, is that they get to see the progression of the life that they have brought into this world, right? So, like, someone who's 30 or 40 that's having kids for the first time, by the time they're 60, 70, their kids are adults, they can see what they've made of themselves so far. Um, and if their kids have done something they're proud of, this is like, yes, I lived long enough to see my progeny, do something productive, right? But I said, if you don't have that, because like I've mapped out the stuff I'd like to do, and this is all stuff I think can be done in a decade or 2 decades. But it's like, again, if you don't have the ability to create life, right? And you have seen life actually get taken away from you, all these demises that are just around you that seem to pop off every other year. What incentive is there for you to live to be 50 or 60 or 70? Like, I know a lot of older people complain about, I have back pains, which I have now. Oh, I have, this pain here or there. But the what's always been asserted to me is that they're happy that they get to see their kids, grandkids, etc. That's why I said, if you are never going to have that, then what incentive do you have to live to be anywhere near these advanced stages? It's not me trying to ask some rhetorical question. I'm serious. Because it's like, if I were to hypothetically live to be 70 or 80, um, it's like I like the projects I do, right? But again, like, no family, no, and it's just I've tried to explain this before, that people don't understand things. Women as a group are really rancid. They're just there are a lot of liars. There are a lot of unwinnable situations that tend to come up in association with them. So again, the line that was often repeated is, "Oh, you'll find someone that likes you." But the problem that is consistent is that there are snags to that supposed liking. Oh, this person likes you, but they live in another part of the world, which is already like, you really expect me to just get on a plane and fly over to this country to go talk to some woman who, let's not forget, she's not the first one to say that she liked me romantically. So that's already another like red flag going off of, yes, yeah, people can say things, they say things a lot, but why would you believe it if it's already happened and turned out to be a non-starter or like a nothing in the past? But it's like, you have this situation that is not ideal, and people, again, when they're doing their whole little like like attempt to motivate you, the little nonsensical pep talk, they always leave out those crucial elements. And this is something we talked about, I believe it was on Tuesday, where I mentioned how, that one of the things that women have in general is that they get attention from men because men don't get attention from women. And it makes it to where women are really never having to perform these extreme, ridiculous feats just to possibly meet someone that likes them, right? So, like, you're not going to see women have to fly from the US to the UK or Canada or Mexico or any of these other regions just to get a date. But if you're a man, as has been established here, you can go to multiple different schools. You can ask out dozens of women, and it is very likely that you will not meet a single one that likes you. Again, the internet thing is a different story because, like I said, when you go on the computer, people say all types of stuff. But I sat back and I thought about it, and I said, how absurd is it that you have to do all of this because we're not even factoring in all the stuff that these guys like to say. Oh, wear this, look this way, say that, all the other crap, right? But I said, how absurd is it that you have to do all this stuff just to not to guarantee, right? Just to supposedly, keyword here is supposedly, increase your chances of finding a partner. Because I said before, I really have no desire to leave the United States. There's no other country where I have to see this. There's parts of the US I'd really, really like to see, right? Like Texas, Florida, New York. But other parts of the world, just whatever. Like I don't really care. Other people want to see them, that's fine. It doesn't interest me. But like, do I really have to go to Canada to go on a date? To the UK to go on a date? I mean, I don't understand why there is this almost, I guess it makes sense, right? People have unrealistic fantasies of what someone is supposed to be. So uh it's not a surprise that one of those extremes would be, oh yeah, if you want to go on a date, just go to another country. Oh yeah, just go travel over here. Like, who has the money for this? And without even factoring that in, how many days off of work would I have to take to even be able to fly to one of these ridiculous regions? I mean, it's nuts. It's insane. But again, people don't care. They just think you're supposed to go do this stuff. Go here, go there. That's why I said everything is just so lousy. Me and this person were talking about mental illness, and how so many times I've had like these different relatives and people online. There must be something wrong with you. Must be something. But I've always said the only thing I've ever believed myself to have is depression, and I don't believe that's because there's something wrong with me. I think the environment is so lousy and poor that anyone in that situation probably wouldn't have too much stuff to be happy about. Um, you know, if you have relatives that say they love you but couldn't bother to assist you with any utility, you probably wouldn't think you were that well loved. If you had people who said they liked you but could never call you, could never text you, could never see how you're doing, you probably wouldn't think you were that well liked. It's not hard to like just see where you start putting those pieces together, right? And the disillusion, the disenfranchisement, this is stupid. I'm done with it. That it starts to click and connect of like, okay, well, if things are so bad, maybe the issue isn't with the person dealing with them. Because, like I said, online, one of the biggest fantasies and fairy tales people perpetuate is this idea that, like, you specifically have something wrong with you. It's like, we know that's not true because look at how many guys talk about how hard it is to just deal with any of this stuff. There are so many people without a job in my state. They have tent cities. They have neighborhoods. They are beautiful. All these houses and cars, etc. But then you drive down 2, 3 blocks, you see nothing but vans parked up against each other, all across the sidewalk. That's why I said the delusion, man. It just seeps into these people. Like, they really sit there and act like there's something wrong with you for looking at a lousy, horrible, horrendous situation and saying this is not good, and go, oh yeah, that's you. You made it this way. You specifically have made it this way. It's like, no, 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 no. Sorry, it doesn't work. The blame game's real fun when they're doing it to men, right? This girl is still online. I looked in that server, the one that was in the Discord women video. She has been sitting in those voice calls, I think, for at least 7 or 8 hours now. Because when I was at work, I saw her. Because, like I said, Discord, they notify me when she's in a VC in the server that we're both in, because she used to be on my friend list before she blocked me. Um, she was in the VCs. Like, it's 4 in the morning now, right? Like, it's 4:30. She was in like one of those VCs in that server back at, because I got my break about 8 o'clock, 7 something, late 7 something, 8 o'clock. So yeah, she's been in the VCs of that server for the last like 7 or 8 hours straight. These people sit in VC calls longer than I work a job. I don't know when she entered, but I know that she's been in there for a while. Holy hell. On the weekends, these people have nothing to do. Like, I'm just thinking, I get up tomorrow, or I guess today after streaming, I'll probably go and visit this one relative, and what else? I might drive over somewhere else too. I was gonna run a victory lap over the documentary, but I'm not gonna finish it for the next few days. So I'll halt that. That'll be a quest that'll be complete at a later date. Man, I tell you. I don't know, it just gets harder each year to like not look at things and be bitter. Just not be upset over stuff. Because, like I said, I mean, you watch all the losses just piling up. Oh, it didn't happen one time, didn't happen twice, happened 3 times, 2 times in 11 months. And I don't know how much more of it I can take. Just move on. Just move on. Like I said, I just think of all this passing, and I'm not satisfied. And I think of him every day. I was actually when I was at work earlier, I had this one. There's like this one girl that's weird where she'll say hi and then say like shut up or something to that effect within this like less than a minute. It's really crazy. But I was just visualizing him and just him being like, that one's nuts. Leave her alone. Like, all right. Just little stuff like that where it was just appear to me. And I try not to do like the whole, like, I know I did the I'm finished stream and just kind of like, I can't make it out of this and I'm done. But that was really just from like, you go and work a job, you come outside, there's some stupid parking ticket. And I said my issue is that normally when they have like these different um things like, that you can't park by, there's like a visual indicator. They didn't have that there. So it was just like, hi, person who's not familiar with this. Time for a ticket. That's like half of your money that day. Just that's why I said I thought I was finished. Um, and I don't even like doing the whole everything is meaningless nonsense that some of these other people do because there are things that matter to me. But like I said, I can't understand the point of a lot of this stuff when it's taken in its entirety. It's like this person is going to work a job, and when they finish working their job to make whatever amount of money they make, they're going to what, have like two, three, four people that they like speaking to, but they only get to talk to maybe once a week or once a month or whatever. And then they're gonna like see people having babies and girlfriends and all the rest of the stuff that they would like but can never get, and then they get attacked over it by people who don't even know them. And then everyone that person cares about that's like older will just pass away, and then eventually they will die too after just going through. I mean, it just seems like what is this leading to? Like, and I don't like talking morbid or just in that kind of way, but I'm just telling the truth. It just seems so devoid of any greater significance. Like I could be the first one to say, you know what, it's awful to have people you care about pass. But hey, at least you got your job and you have your wife, your child, but those last two are never going to occur. Like I had this epiphany a long time ago. I said it's going to be 2034 or 44, and there will be some new dumb girl on one of these horrendous websites that I'll talk to for like a day, a week, whatever. Have no desire to date her, but because you're male, automatically that it has to be in her mind romantic. And then she'll ruin it and either block me or unfriend me or something else dumb. And it's just like, when does it end? Like seriously, I mean, who wants to deal with another year of that? I'm at a point now when I see a lot of these girls in these servers and on these different websites, I try to avoid them because it's like, you know, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 years ago, there was that fantasy of like, hey, this lady likes the same things as me. And that means that we're going to have an easier time getting along and possibly actually, dare I say, becoming friends. But I've learned long and hard that just because you and some woman have things in common, or she's like pretending that she's interested in whatever your opinion or specific way of doing that thing is, it doesn't mean anything. And it's just so surreal to think that like I haven't asked one of them out, like, "Oh, I like you. Hey, I have these feelings," or I haven't said that to one of them. I'd say in at least 3 years. Like it's been a very long time because it's just like it's stupid, man. And really, at this point, anytime one of them pretends they're interested or starts saying some romantic stuff, I just start cringing because it's like I've seen this before. Like, yeah, there's stuff that's weird and it gets me, right? So like we had the girl thought it was her ex boyfriend because of like the way I type, and that was weird. We had the one that you know, block somebody for saying that they missed them. You know, stuff like that is new, but like the general arc of, oh, here's this lady I'm talking to. She's kind of nice at first. Give it a few days, weeks. Oh, now she despises me or is acting crazy. It's like that's happened so many times to where you just expect that will happen again. Like it's just a foregone conclusion. Give it a few days or weeks. Here comes crazy woman number 900. It's just so disenfranchising from even like wanting to bother with them, you know? Ooh, new woman. But yeah, that thought of him remains because he saw a fair deal of it. And I remember just in one of our conversations, he talked about possibility that, oh, if you meet someone, you can bring them and I'll meet them as well, or they can go with us somewhere. And I always thought to myself that never happened. Like there's so much. That's why I said there's so much stuff where there's set up for it, and it just never occurs. You know, like I always thought about how when I was in college, even before that, the idea always was if you do your work, if you study hard, you can make it. Right. The most important thing is passing the classes, learning the things, etc. But in the end, that wasn't true. The most important thing was having thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that if you didn't have, you better hope that your parents have it. And if they don't, well, you're just screwed. Or you can take out loans and, you know, be in debt for the rest of your life. Yay. That should be the real name of the stream, Cynical Saturday. No, just so much stuff, you know, happens. And it's like, what is this supposed to be leading to? Like, when I think of my job, it's like at a minimum, I want to be there for at least a year. I don't think I will because they'll find something to get rid of me over because they always are looking for something to get rid of somebody over. But just like, you know, it's been we have what 3 more months to go until a year. So yeah, 9 months almost, or yeah, about close to 9 months because I know it was like November. But I don't want to work there for the rest of my life or 5 years, 10 years. I mean, if you ask me what is my next job after that, I really don't know. I guess I'll stay there and hopefully the online stuff picks up a little bit more. I just it's again, it's just one of those things where I would prefer that it not be the end all be all, but um, I can't guarantee that it won't be because I just don't have a specific one lined up after that. That's just me telling the truth. I don't like I. There are things I can plan out, and there are things I can't plan out. I didn't foresee them keeping me for this long, so stuff is always flipping and switching. Mm. I just look at a lot of this stuff, and I hate to say where are the payoffs, but I believe that. Like I've one of the things I always heard that stuck with me is that a story is only good once it's ended. You can have an episode of a show that you like, right? You can have a movie in some franchise you think is okay, decent, chapter in a book that you think is well written, but if those pieces equate to something that is subpar or not in any way satisfying, then what was the point of it? What was the quality of it? Quality is subpar. Because again, even if there were some things along the way that you thought were nice, you wouldn't say this is yeah, I'd do that again, because look at where it leads you. I talk about there was this one girl, and I've forgotten about her because there's been so damn many of them, but there was this one girl who was on Discord, and I think I talked to her. I was in like a group call with her for about 4 or 5 hours one night. And when she accepted my friend request, I was like, "Oh, that's great. That's nice." Didn't say it in any like big way, but just was like, "Hey, if you when you get back when you're available again, hey, maybe you can message me." And then she blocked me, and I was like, that really upset me. I don't think about that much anymore because so much other insanity has happened. But that really upset me because of how much time you spent with this person just to have them do something that seemed to be out of complete left field. Um, and I was like, okay, so what is the point of that? Like, what was the point of having this group call with this man, accepting his friend request, if you're just going to get rid of him less than a day later? Like, I don't understand that. Again, for me, things need to make sense. There needs to be a reason to do them. I like when I write a script, I don't just write it for my health. I want to actually make the damn video. There are scripts I've never completed, but there's never been one script I wrote out the whole thing and was like, oh yeah, I'll just never even attempt. Like, there's stuff I've tried to make, didn't work out for whatever reason. Usually the stuff with voice actors is a big reason I don't even bother with that stuff anymore. But my point I'm making is there was always a desire when writing this stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make this. Okay, I'm visualizing this in my mind, what it's going to look like. And now you just don't see that. You make this stuff, you try to make it, and if it doesn't go the way you want, I ask again, what's the point? This guy said in his stupid comment, things with women don't have to be outcome dependent. That's total nonsense. Who the hell want to talk to somebody and know that that person is going to block them or stop speaking to them right after the supposed pleasant conversation had occurred? Like, what's the point of that? I see no logic there. It's just weird, man. But that's why I said I think there is this epiphany that has to be had where some people are just going to be alone. Um, some of us may fight it, right? Aggressively, sign up for all the different websites, put ourselves out there even further, go to the stupid mall or whatever other place people tell you to go and visit. But in spite of all those efforts, in spite of all those attempts, you just don't see a benefit. You don't see any change or difference because again, sometimes nothing you do makes any difference. And it's a really sad thing to say, but we've seen this with these deaths. I mean, you can't control if someone is sick, you can't control if um, whatever physical stuff is affecting them, and oftentimes you are affected by the fallout of it. You go, why, like I can't, I can't even begin to describe how many times I've sat back and thought about one of the three of them and said, why did they have to die? Like I've never abstained from doing that because I think it's unfair. I think it's screwed up. I think I am a lot worse off without them. I mean, I know that. Uh, I could say that that plays. I mean, again, it's like when you go every day and you feel the absence, and you know that it doesn't matter what year it is, how much time has supposedly passed, it just affects you. You still think of this person. Still wonder what would they think of this? What did he say about this? What would she say about that? That's why I said it's just all the rest of the stuff just doesn't mean anything. Like again, I like to do streams. I like videos. I like to watch stuff, but I just have a certain tolerance for a lot of the weirder stuff that gets written my way. Like some of it I laugh at because I just think it's so goofy. Some of it I think is just insane. But again, the truth really is that the people whose opinions of me mattered the most are no longer here, and it it just doesn't register to me to be as invested in the views of these random online individuals that pop up and crop up and appear and decide to take an issue with my leadership. Hell, a lot of my family members that are alive and around, or not excuse me, that are alive and are able to voice their discontent still can't affect me because they don't do anything. They just run their mouths. So their opinion doesn't really carry weight. Oh man, I tell you. It was about maybe yeah, it was this month, like this last month, July. There was a place I used to go with one of them probably every weekend, most weekends, I would say. Certainly over the last 2 or 3 years of their life. And I went for the first time since, actually, no, I'd say probably for either the second or third time since they passed. I went over there and just ordered something and thought about them and how they would drive through that same lane. Like I said, man, there's a lot of things about life that I enjoy. You know, different games, shows, movies. I know people don't care much for them, but I like books, especially biographies. I like the ability of one person to just raise awareness of something, make something, create something. But I'm very serious when I say that, like, I don't understand the point of living if the things that excite you the most are blocked off from you. It's like, oh, look, I work this job, but 80% of what I make every month goes to crap I don't want or am benefited by. It's like, Well, that makes me just kind of dispirited in terms of, seeing no progression. So it's like, why even bother working? And of course, you're not going to quit because you know instinctively that working, like not working, would mean you'd have even less money, and it was just you would be dooming yourself. But the idea with that comment is, in a best case scenario, yeah, you have to pay for whatever little stuff you have to get to survive, but you still get to pocket most of it, still get the things you want with it if you work enough, get enough hours. But again, if all of it is going to this other um, stuff, it just starts to seem like you're a hamster running on a wheel. No progression. That's why I said that, like, the online woman thing was on its last legs several years back. And what started to happen after I just got sick of piss cords, I would meet them on like different sites, right? Some on YouTube, some on Twitter, wherever the hell. But I just have to keep reminding myself it is not possible for me to have a positive relationship with a woman who is not a member of my family. And even now, even the ones among my family are hard to have a good rapport with. Um, they're just not people I can trust, and they'll throw you away over anything. So it's just like, what's even the point? But also, I should say, as we go through like more of this, what's the point kind of belief I have. Um, Whenever someone has a dream, right? Something they really want to do, something that they're like, yeah, this would be nice to have, to accomplish, etc. And I hear so often, and I see it, when I'm talking to them, these different women that don't want kids, right? Just they show their faces every year. And then I look at these couples that are spitting out children left and right. Oh, my girlfriend's pregnant. Oh, my wife is pregnant. Oh, my baby mama, mistress, whatever. I sit back and I go, like, where is that for me? Why do I keep getting stuck with these, these girls that are just determined to not do that with me? Like, I really do wonder why so many of them. Because I said before, if I have the option of either being with a woman who doesn't want children, and it's gonna have to be long term because it's like these girls are coming from all different countries, so it's like you already would have to have been committed to this person for weeks or months to even like get to that point of going out there seeing. But it's like I've said before, if I have the option of either dating or being in a relationship with a woman who doesn't want to have children, or being alone for the rest of my life, I would pick the latter. I'd rather just be alone than be with someone who theoretically could do the thing I'd like the most, but just refuses to. Because again, I said, like, why give them what they want when they won't give you what you want? I don't understand the logic of that. Why do you have to acquiesce to their petulance when there is no compromise to be had? There's nothing there. Ooh, if you agree to date me, we can talk to each other over the phone as we live hundreds and hundreds of miles away from each other. Ooh, it's like, it's stupid. Whole thing is just dumb. Oh, the rooster's back to its old tricks. The rooster, the hen, whatever you want to call it. I remember this one person we talked about. right? Dribble L. You don't sound like someone who just wants a date. And I said, well, if it's someone I know in real life, I mean, I would just like to hang out, whatever, see where that goes. But if you're talking about this online stuff with women from other countries and other states and other parts of the hemisphere, it's like, yeah, you want something more. You want more than just another, dare I say, foreign word that rhymes with Autobot, telling you about how she wants to do all these different things with you, and but then again, like there's no deliverance. There's no reason to buy into this stuff. It's all pretend. It's all theatrics. It doesn't mean anything. Again, I relate it back to the family stuff. Like, look at all these relatives that just sit there running their mouths about, look, I'm related to you, so I care about you. But then when you need their help, they abandon you. You know, I remember getting so angry that I contemplated calling some of them and just cursing them out. I wouldn't even care if they got mad. I wouldn't even care if, oh, it's like I just was so upset at like, how do you sit there and treat this person that you would dare to say you love like they don't even exist? I didn't get the logic of it. I said, what, like, how do you sleep at night? But the truth is, they just don't care. And in their minds, they'll always come up with some excuse for why they do the things they do, some reason to, man, she is camping in that VC, Jesus. But some reason to do the things they do or do nothing at all, right? Oh, this person's an adult. Oh, this person, whatever. I mean, they'll always find an excuse to just not be involved. Um, unfortunately, and it is unfortunate because it's like they're surprised when they do stuff like that as to why nobody wants to talk to them. Nobody wants to associate with them. It's a big shock. Can't comprehend it. They can't fathom why you wouldn't even want to be involved or have anything to do with people like that. I just realized the sun's gonna start coming up soon, 5 in the morning. It's usually around the time it would come up. I remember my old Saturday routine of going to Starbucks. That's dead now. $6 for a cup of coffee. You can get um I think it's, yeah, Wiener Schnitzel. You can get like 2 cheeseburgers for 7. That's usually my go-to. I always get 2 of those, and that will be what I need for the rest of the day. Or I'll order some chili cheese fries and have those at that time, right? Because fries don't taste as good when they're colder, and then have the burgers later on, and that'll be all I eat for that day. Mm. I find it to be mostly filling. I mean, no, I've like I said, things just have to have a reason to them, you know? They have to have a point to why they're done. I mean, even with the guys I talk to, it's like I don't expect I'm ever going to fly to Japan or any of these other countries to meet these different guys I speak to. But it's like if we're content just talking to each other, then there's the purpose right there. It really is only with these online girls that there's such a just shuffling of intentions and motives where you just can't understand like what exactly were you trying to get out of this? What was the end goal here? What was the purpose? They're just a weird group of people. They can get mad at me for saying it, but it's true. I don't understand the logic of this stuff. It's a mystery to me. But man, when I think of him, hey, had your stream up for a little while. I was doing some already. I really good what you said so far. I don't know if you were going to appear today or not. I was just like, maybe I should have delayed this. Some of it is very disturbing, scary when you mentioned about the family stuff. Well, I mean, look, for me, it's just a pretty significant anniversary tomorrow. And I just, like, I'm sure, I won't have any like specific stuff with people about it. So it's just me mostly just venting about how everything is kind of so morbid and disillusioning. I just, when you know that there are people who have treated you well, and in their absence, the crappy new versions can't do that or replicate that behavior. Like they'll replicate the rhetoric, but not the actions. It's um, it's not a good foreboding of what you can expect in the future. Also, the woman from the Discord women video is online right now. If I wasn't about 99% sure she would say some curse words or somebody would say her name, I would actually like contemplate joining the call and then you'd be able to hear it on the street. But I was like, nah, I don't want to risk it. Be like, smile now, you're live. You're on film. They do that in these servers where people will just be in a call and then someone will just start streaming. Like they give you no forewarning. Hearing her would probably make my ears bleed. Man, I cut so much out of that video. Like I was gonna play the whole saga. I was gonna have because you only got her insulting me at the start during the like final attempt I made at actually trying to speak to her about this. And then the parts where she was praising me, and that was during the first call we had, which is like the week before, whatever. But I didn't get to play the parts of her trying to say, like I related, but I didn't play the parts of her saying the like, no one ever liked you, and you made me accept your friend request. You kept bothering me about it. I screamed at her. I said, don't act like somebody put a pistol to your head and made you accept an invite. Are you serious? I reached through the screen like this and make that's why I said, man, they lie so much. No, the Discord women video, I planned on doing it this week, but man, the work schedule has been crazy. I had 8 hour shift on Monday. I was off Tuesday, but that's one day out of the week. Work Wednesday, work Thursday, and then yesterday another. It's supposed to be 5.5 hours. Ended up being 8 again. Yeah, their wording is so astonishing. They don't think through before they say stuff. They just don't want to be accountable for like leading somebody on. Like you accepting my request and then talking to me in all these DM messages is acting like you want to speak to me. But of course, she can't tell the truth and say, look, I thought I wanted to, I changed. No, it's got to be, I never liked you. It's like, okay, sure. That's why when I left that call, you were like, where did you go? I wasn't even expecting like when I left anybody would notice. I was like, well, I guess I'll entertain this. And then she just kept prying and prying until I finally revealed why I left. And then we got into speaking. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like they can't tell the truth. They're just chronic liars. These people lie so much that if you ask them what cereal they had for breakfast, they probably would say drywall. Like it's nuts. Oh, you'll like this. I'm going to mention this real quick. I just want to give you an example of like how crazy people on Discord are. So, like I said, most guys I talk to have tried to be friendly with, no problem at all. During the stream on Tuesday, you might not remember because it was only mentioned briefly, but I talked about there was like this girl that has a server where she has this open invite, right? Anybody can join. And I click it to join, and then all of a sudden I'm out. And like she then sends me this ... message, and I, say like I didn't know it was a crime to join your server, and she blocks me. And I was in the VC with these guys, like 2-3 different guys, about a night ago. And I'm not kidding, because this is a pretty brief exchange, right? I mentioned this for probably 2 minutes. And again, my main point is like, why would you have a public server where where like your server's public, anybody can join, but then be adverse to people joining, where you like ban them before they can join or even like do anything that shows they're against following your, just it was a very brief exchange because it's really not that big of a story. It's only me mentioning it as like another footnote and just the weird chronicle of the Discord women, right? This guy's like, well, she probably just doesn't blank with you, and you don't have to harp on it. And I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? I literally just mentioned this for was it a minute, 2 minutes? Because it's a brief thing that happened. It's just me saying like, okay, that's another weird thing that these chicks did. It's like I'm sitting here talking about it for an hour or 2 hours. It's just, hey, this other weird thing happened, and my main point is why have a public server and then make it to where when people join the public server, you get rid of them anyway. Like that was my point. He's like, well, you keep harping on. It's like, dude, I've been talking about this for like 2 minutes, and the only thing I'm pressing my point with regard to is what is the purpose of having a public server and then being very selective about who joins? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Because you can make your server private if you want. But it's like people on that site, they have this thing where they're very argumentative. And it's like I told you, one of the problems with men, right? Like in the modern era, is that if you complained about anything, there's always some other guy, some other dude to sit there and either justify what the stupid woman did or try to like downplay what happened. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. Get over it. I mean, you saw when I was doing my stream about the girl trying to get me in trouble at the job, you had, what was it, Vince? Like appear out of the clear blue sky. He should stop. I wasn't even like reading what he was writing for the most part. He was like, he shouldn't be talking about. It's like, what? So I just got sick of it and left. I was like, this is stupid. I harp on something by mentioning it for 2 minutes. Yeah, that's really crazy. But you know what I'm saying? That like if you go and watch the stream, I didn't even talk about that woman for more than maybe it couldn't have been 5 minutes like at a maximum. It had to have been like 2 or 3 because it's really not that big of a story. And the thing with her isn't even like a central thing. I've had chicks do weird stuff like that before. Not like the server thing, but just like, oh, I thought whatever, and then oh, you're banned, or just little stuff like that. Just like anything turns them off. We know that. We saw the girl that you ask her when's she going to be online again, and then she unfriends you. They're weird, right? We know that. But I'm just saying that like it's annoying that, hey, I'm just mentioning something, venting about it. Why are you harping on it? It's like, dude, move on. It's like, I got to play the Super Bowl clip again. It's really their way of saying, hey, don't you dare mention anything bad about what that girl did. She'll do anything she wants. It's her server. And I even said, yes, she has the right to do it, but I mean, I have the right to say it's stupid. How's that work? They have the right to, but remember we talked about this before. People feel like they can do anything they want to you, but then they want to control how you respond to what they did. So just like the girl where, she's going to sit here and unfriend me on Discord, and then, like, okay, she has the right to do that. But then she wants to get mad that she gets a video made on her. And then the girl, she bans me from her channel, blocks me from comments on her channel, but then gets mad when I make the video with the screenshots of her and the other idiot talking about me in the chat, like the comment section. Like, how's that work? And they came to my stuff after I made my video that I didn't block anybody. I said, if I make a video on you, you want to actually speak to me, because usually that's what happens, where like they make it to where you can't talk to them directly. So, okay, well, I guess I'll just vent about it. It's funny how that works, isn't it? They want you to accept what they've done, but then they also want to control how you respond to it. Those double standards, they just get nicer and nicer each year. Oh, let's talk about the discount queen. Very funny indeed, because it's like you don't just treat someone like trash and expect them to just get over it. Yeah. What it is that they're used to just, oh, I did this to you, so what? But I tell you, a lot of these people are extremely like a lot of these like girls and women are really thin-skinned. I mean, you saw with the coworker, I didn't curse her. I didn't call her any mean names. I made fun of the like little gesture she was doing, and that was enough for her to try and get me, tossed out of there. So they really just, if they get any blowback for the stuff that they do, it's too much. They are glass cannons. They are these precious little flowers. And that's why I told you with the coworker, it really was like once she did that, and I kind of like, saw how things went for the next couple of weeks until we got to the I'll pick you up at what was that 8 comment that the guy made. At that point, I finally knew who I was dealing with. She had been read all the way through. I said, okay, let's see, she's cowardly, right? Because she can't directly confront me about something that she thinks I did, the recording. She's a liar, right? Says I'm not a very social kind of person, but then jumps in the car with this other guy. Okay. She is flaky, right? Stands my up at the last minute. Okay. I mean, it was like that. By the end of March, she had been read all the way through. Just all the pages. Let's talk about the discount queen. You'll love this. So I told you on Tuesday that there's one manager I really can't stand, because this lady has this thing where everybody else will discount my stuff half off. With her, she tries to screw me out of, $7 or $8, which is a big deal for me, because if she's done that twice, so that's like 14. If she did a third time, that'd be $20-something, which is like, that's a significant amount of what I would make in a day. But anyways, the new strategy I have is that I'll look on the schedule, and if I see her there, I'll go and eat somewhere else. And if I don't see her there, I'll go and get something from there, like from the place. So that minimizes the chances of having her do that nonsense again. So I believe it was which day was it? Either Tuesday or Wednesday. Um yeah, okay. Tuesday night. No, Wednesday, because I didn't work Tuesday. Okay, Wednesday. I go in there and it had her name on the schedule, but she's like not working in the front. So this other manager who is the same one that bought me the burger that one time takes my order, or bought me the food or whatever. I'm like, okay, great. This is nice, right? All the way towards the end of the shift, because she's been like mostly just not saying it to me. And I don't even talk to relatives, so close relatives, so I wouldn't even care less if this manager has her, anger flaring. It doesn't bother me. But towards the end of the shift, she's walking past me. She's like, "Hey, how come you didn't order your two of the same thing?" I was like, "Huh?" Right? Because it's just like it kind of catch me a little bit off guard, right? For her to like go through the whole shift not saying anything to me, and all of a sudden try to question me about why I didn't order. So it's like, "How come you didn't order two of the same thing like you like to do every day of your life?" And I said, "I don't even come here every day. You're spreading misinformation." And then she's like, "Oh, how come you didn't order two of the same thing like you like to do every time you come here?" I'm like, "How do you not do that every time I come here? Are you spying on me? Am I being surveilled?" And she's like, "Oh, no, no one cares." And I don't say this, but I'm thinking to myself, like, if no one cares, why would you point it out? But just, I hope you understand how crazy it is, because I actually did order that same day. She just wasn't paying attention, or maybe wasn't in like a place where she could see that I was doing whatever. But I just want you to think about this, like the way that was worded. Why didn't you order two of the same thing like you do every day of your life? I said, "Look, this place is 30 miles from my house. I only come there when I'm working. I don't order from there every day. I don't even come there every day, so of course I don't order." But just like the way that's worded, like, how come you didn't order two of the same thing like you do every day of your life? We had a conversation about how people are narrowly defined by one thing. Um, you don't think it's kind of funny, Megumi, that like they don't know about this, they don't know about all the like news videos and the documentaries and the romance stuff and the streams. Like, to them, you really are just this thing that shows up and performs some task for whatever little coins they give you that day, for like 4 to 5 or maybe sometimes 8 hours a day, and then you're gone, and then you until you come back and do whatever. Like, you get where that's like really kind of funny from their perspective. Like, they just don't know about all of this other stuff that has happened or is happening, right? Like with the relatives and the place, and just you get where that's what like I thought was. But it's like she doesn't know you. Like, it's not even just she doesn't know you outside picking up that order. She doesn't know you enough to even accurately gauge the fact that you don't live in that damn area. On a day where I'm not scheduled, I think I can count the number of days where I came to that place on days where I wasn't scheduled on like one hand. There was the day where me and this guy went to go see a movie, and he lives over there. I don't. So I like drove over, and I was like, well, I'm kind of hungry. I guess I'll just get something from there and eat that on the way, back to, whatever. I don't feel like driving all the way back over to my place. Um, and then I think there was, I'm not kidding. Like, it's really limited. Like, I very seldom ever show up at that place on days when I'm not scheduled, because it's just how far away it is. Why didn't you order two of the same thing like you like to do every day of your life? I said, "I don't even come here every day. You're spreading this information." You want to talk about some fake news? It's like, why didn't you order two of the same? She amended it. She's like, why didn't you order two of the same thing like you like to do every time you come here? It was like, how do you know I do every time I come here? Are you spying on me? Am I being surveilled? I tell you, the manager's office has like all those cameras, like 14 different cameras. So I'm just imagining like every time she looks on the camera, she checks to see when I'm coming in, and I usually like go in an hour early or whatever to like get something to eat. And she sees me, she's like, him again. Let me guess. What's he gonna order? That same thing. Not if I can help it. Like, how do you say nobody cares, but then you try to ask me about it? Dude, if you don't know why women are so all over the place and flipping and switching, you, imagine what I would look like if I said, Megumi, how come you didn't come to, I don't know. Megumi, how come you didn't come to YouTube like you like to do every day of your life? And you're like, I don't even use YouTube every day. You can look at my search history. I'm only on here Monday through Thursday. And I'm like, how come you didn't go on YouTube like you like to do almost every weekday? And you're like, why are you spying on me? Oh, no one cares. Like, well, if nobody cares, why would you bring it up? I have noticed that they seem to word it in a way that makes you look like you have nothing better to do in your life. And dude, it's like, God damn, like you're just an employee trying to get some food. Like, what is... And dude, you know what's really sad? If I tried to sit her down and talk to her and say, listen, at the place I stay, I have no stove. I have no oven. I have no microwave. I have no large refrigerator where I could even like store any food in there. I have like one little tiny one you put like some drinks in. So when I go and I get two of the same thing, I'm getting one that I can eat before the shift starts so I'm not hungry, not disoriented, and one that I can take home and have something to eat that'll likely not have me hungry throughout the night. You know that if I tried to sit her down and come to her as an adult who is explaining his lousy economic situation, brought upon by a series of factors that were in some cases out of his control, she would not give a damn because these people do not see us as human beings. We are just these toys that they like to play with, right? Maybe I'll give you a few hours here, a few hours there. But you see that even with one of the few benefits I would get from even working at that place, she very stingily, I'm probably even using the word, but in a very like stingy way, is like, you want to use this, fine, but only to this amount. And only that particular manager does that. All the other ones have no problem with me getting two of something and getting half off on both. That's the only one out of the whole staff. And it's like, dude, what is she like? You get where I'm kind of like wondering, like, what is the point of asking me that? Like, because what I was thinking is she probably has caught on to me just kind of being like, man, to hell with you, right? If you're gonna try to screw me out of some money. Like she probably has noticed that that's if not like that's the direct reason, there's probably some correlation there. Like, hey, he started acting this way towards me after I did this, right? But it's not enough for her to have, as we say before, a character arc, right? Of like, hey, maybe there is a reason for this to not be so, for me to not be like so hostile, right? Hey, maybe I could ask, how come you won't say hello to me? But that's why I told you that people in leadership positions, the ones that get, like, I did this video yesterday rather, about like the traits people want in US presidents. And they were talking like leadership skills, right? A lot of people in these leadership positions, whether they're managers, whatever, they don't have that. They don't like, there's a great book and it's called Master of the Senate. Like, I'm not even trying to relate this to politics, Megumi, but one of the reasons I really like that book is it's about Lyndon Johnson's Senate years. He was Senate Majority Leader. And it talks about how you got to manage these personalities. You go and you get to know the people that work under you, what their hopes and their dreams, the stuff they like, the stuff they dislike, and just being able to put all of it together. And unfortunately, a lot of these managers in name only, they get these jobs because, oh, they counted stuff more correctly, or maybe they kissed up to somebody else. But in terms of being able to sit there and make a business effectively run by either doing some compromises, trying to get somebody to come to the table, they just don't have it. These people are not getting promoted because they're such great leaders. All they're good at is you do this, you do that, you do this. But in terms of, okay, this person doesn't really like that person, I got an idea. We'll put them over there with this person, and then I'll separate them and they can work more effectively. Oh, this guy is like driving an hour plus just to work for us. He wants to get to a something for half off. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, hell, he's coming over here and giving us his all. Why not? That's a small trade-off for me, but not for her. And then at the end, she said, nobody cares afterwards. What was all that about? Yeah, that's true. That's why I often think to myself, like, how did these people get their position in the first place? I'm not even kidding. I was talking about the one girl that I tell you they had like this one black girl who I noticed would just never speak to any of the other blacks that worked there, which I thought was like weird, right? Because I thought I was friendly. I thought the other guys and women that worked there were friendly as well with her. And I said to one of my relatives, I was like, why did they promote her to being a man? Because, like, you think about the personality of a manager. You got to be assertive, be able to tell somebody, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? Hey, you have to, like, be able to, like, put yourself out there in the metaphorical sense of being able to say, hey, look, I need you to do this. I need you to come here to, etc. And he told me, he said, with some of these people, you don't know who's given the most triangles. And dude, I got the mental image of that of that. How come they promoted her? With some of these people, you don't know who's given the most triangles. Here you go. His theory was that the reason the mixed signals queen didn't get fired after all those tardies and absences is because she was given some triangle to one of the managers. I said, I don't believe that. Like, listen, mixed signals queen is a lot of things, but the one pattern I noticed is that she tends to leave after her shift is over. There's really no dilly-dallying and staying around and hanging out at the area and all that rest of that stuff. So I told him up front, like, she's trash, but not that kind of trash. If I'm being objective and fair, I just don't think so. And really what it comes down to is she just has plot armor. Like, she's very covert in terms of, like, she'll run up her points, like just the stuff she'll get in trouble over, and then when it's like starting to get to that period where they have to like cut her off, she starts cleaning her act up. I don't feel good. Get somebody to cover, so there's no problem there. Oh, I'm late by 10 minutes. Well, I called you guys 2 hours early. It's funny, the one time I called them to say that I was going to be late, I actually still showed up on time. Man, I was running out of my car. But Megumi, I'm serious when I tell you that people in manager positions need to be able to demonstrate leadership qualities. I'm a person where I get nervous sometimes. I go in front of a crowd and speak. I'm a person where sometimes if you say, hey, remember to do this, maybe I might forget a part of it and I'll ask you a second time. But I truly believe that if you were to have me as a manager or in some other leadership position, like a trial run, right? I would attempt to get to know the other people that work there. If I sense there's like friction between me and somebody else, I would sit them down in the office, whatever other place where we can congregate and say, hey, look, have I done something to you? I'm not trying to become your enemy, because the truth is, when people work for the same company, whether they're higher ups or lower downs, they're supposed to be on the same side. Your manager is supposed to look at their subordinates as, like, it's almost like being a captain on a pirate ship. This is your crew. These are your scalawags. You have to, like, actually make an attempt to keep the ship running by sorting out, okay, who's causing this to be this way? Why is this happening? And they're just not good at that. Like, we're at a point where managers, the people in charge of these places, right? We talked about this earlier. They will literally just, like, say nothing to you, right? Unless they want something, which is already, like, establishing of, damn, I'm only good to talk to if you want me to go and sweep the floor. Like, are you serious? Even just the hello can go a long way. And they can't even do that. You know why, right? Because they're not leaders. They're leaders in name only. I told you, when I was working for that one company, right, where it was like some hair place, and I was only there for a week because the manager rescinded my contract. It's like, the lady couldn't tell me to my face, hey, look, you're not moving fast enough, I don't think it's going to work, etc. Has to hide behind the skirt of the other lady who calls me to break the news because she's cowardly. They're like managers in name only. Unfortunately, that is pretty much the same case over here with the jobs too. Oh, the US and the UK, we are connected in a lot of ways. I wish it wasn't that one. I'm really serious. Like, I've never been a manager somewhere before, but if you had me running a place and I've got employees, I would try to get to know them. Hey, are you all right? Hey, doing anything this weekend? Just hey, do you like the stuff we make? You have a favorite thing on here? Like, god damn, make an attempt to make this a decent place where people at least feel like, you see them this isn't some faceless entity that's making food or cleaning the dishes. You see this person several times a week. I told you before, I had no desire to be enemies with this stupid manager. I didn't want to. But it's like, what, she's going to just screw me out of money and be the only one doing that? And I'm supposed to be like, well, I guess I'll just take the L, just get punched in the face, right? Just get punched in the face over and over. Today it was $11. Tomorrow it's going to be 18 because the same stupid manager wants to just keep punching me in the face. I guess I'll just sit there and take it. Like, what is the solution to that? I think my answer is the best one in terms of, okay, this person wants to keep doing this. Well, we're not going to play this game anymore. We've read her all the way through. So any day where we see that person's name on there, we go somewhere else, get some food from there as insurance. And then if they have her not in the front where she can do this silly crap, we'll go and order some from there too. And then we'll eat the stuff from today and it, as like today, and then eat the thing that we got earlier for tomorrow. Yeah, it does come a long way to just one of them to say hello and spend a little time getting to know their employees. I'm telling you, they don't do that. I've had so many managers, right, where they don't even say hi to you. Like, they act like you're a goddamn ghost. You might as well be Casper. I'll be washing stuff, right? Manager's office right behind me. This is them going in, and this is them going out. This is them going in, this is them going out. This is them going in, and I'm just like standing here. They can see the back of my head. Now that it'll be maybe like two of them that say, "Hi, Justin." Just extremely rare. And like, again, I couldn't imagine running a place, right? Like, I am the leader. I am the person who, when when you guys have someone bring $100 bill or some other big bill, I come out there, I look to see if it's real or not, right? Fake or not. When someone has a problem with some food, they come and talk to me. You're instructed to come get me so I can deal with this. When people want to call into the place to say that they found, I don't know, ratatouille in their meal, or that their stuff didn't come on time, or I don't know, that they didn't like the customer service, they're supposed to speak to me as the manager. And like, they just don't, like, they'll handle all of that with these complete strangers, but that person they see 3-4 times a week for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months, they had no idea that he lived 30 miles away. They had no idea that he drove that far just to work for them, because they don't try to get to know you. They act like you don't even exist. I told you I never had a job before this one where people just walk past you all day long and only speak if they want something. So damn rude. Especially those girls. I'm not even kidding. There's guys, some of them are black, some of them are Hispanic, some of them are Caucasian. Every time I see them, how are you, etc. Thank you. How are you doing? Da, 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 da. I'll be in line. But some of these girls, and also I noticed correlation. Besides that one I told you about that got promoted to manager, right? Usually the black ones are pleasant, right? Will say hello to me. But a lot of those white and Hispanic ones just all day long, nothing to say. And I told you, at first it bothered me, right? The first like couple of months. And I said, you know what? To hell with them. If people can't even say hello to you, right? Then you don't even need to bother with them. And I know it's not normal, because look, the guys have no problem saying hello to me. I walked in one day, Megumi, I had 4, 5, 6 different guys say hi to me before I even put on my apron to wash the dishes. Like within 3 minutes of me clocking in, washing my hands, I had 2 say hello as I walked in, 2 say hello as I was clocking in. I think when I was grabbing some stuff, I mean, like, men don't act. That's why I said, like, they'll call it, oh, you have, like, they can say whatever they want. Men don't do this. Makes the employees feel much motivation to come to work and do their shift with care. I'm telling you, when that manager brought me that food, I was like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, they should make you feel welcome when you attend to work. It's a positive impression, but with chicks, it's always a problem, it seems. And man, it's like no matter what you do, it's like I told you, you might not remember because it's been a while, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I told you there was a girl where like she was sitting outside and she starts asking me as she's sitting down about like driving a car, and I'm answering it. I think in like a fairly honest way of like, when I started, I was kind of scared at, and then the longer you do it, the more comfortable you feel. At least that's my impression of it. And at a certain point in this conversation, she's like, "Get away from me!" I'm like, "What the hell?" And I comply because I'm like, "Hey, look, I don't need another one of them trying to get me in trouble for something stupid." I saw her yesterday, and I believe the day before yesterday. And I saw her on Thursday, and there were 2 notable things that happened. I'm in here cleaning stuff, and she says, "What's up, Justin?" That's like her catchphrase when she sees me. And I say, "How are you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, good, good." And I'm like, "All right, well, I guess I'll see you." And she's like, "Shut up." And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "I'll beat your expletive." Now I just hope you understand that like that was all in like an exchange of less than I think, a minute and a half. And by the way, she's actually not the first one of these girls that works here to say that, like to threaten me, like physically threat. Of course, I don't take it seriously because no one there is gonna put their hands on me and like just get away with it. But I said, isn't that kind of crazy that you go from saying hi to someone to saying that you're going to attack them? Like that's normal. I mean, I know that, like, if the situation reversed and I said to a girl, I'll I don't even want to say it like in a hypothetical. If I said something like that to one of them, it would be an issue. I will admit, though, dude, the chicks you have at your workplace are way more crazy than ones I've come across. Dude, that particular one, I'm telling you, they shift and switch. They're like this. Like, pick a damn side. Oh, and she gets along really well with that same manager I mentioned, where they were hugging each other. I was like, man, you couldn't pay me $1 million to be on camera hugging one of these girls. You see how much trouble they can get by? They can get you in for just like standing next to them and having one of them sit by you. Like, come on. Oh, by the way, you'll remember this character, maybe you don't. So, like, one of the impetuses for the Mixed Signals Queen saga was the guy who said that he thought I was flirting with her and how goofy I thought that was. Because I was like, dude, it's just me talking to some girl. It's whatever. Like, I don't really, she's not. I wouldn't call her unattractive, but she's just not what I would usually be into. He told me he had he's like, how old do you think the manager that tries to cheat me out of my discount is? And I don't answer because I'm just like, was it? He's like 29, 28. And I asked him, what, why? He's like, oh, I kind of want to, I was like, I say, why, do you want to ask her out? He's like, yeah. Now, I've said before, I would never be insane enough to actually try dating a coworker, but like, I'd have to be even like more out of my mind to even like consider the possibility of I will attempt to date a manager. And this isn't the first one that he's talked about wanting to date. There was another one and she left, I'd say within the past month or so. And it was probably, it was like later on that day. I'm like, man, you better hope that she says yes, because if she doesn't, I know who's calling you, in reference to that number that called me, the HR number. And he was like, I probably wouldn't even do it anyway. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm glad, but what was the point of mentioning it to me then? That's recipe for disaster. I hope he knows what he's getting himself into. The only way I could ever be tempted to try something romantic with a fellow it would have to be like the woman is really aggressively pursuing me, and of course that wouldn't happen, but just like hypothetical of like, oh, she asked me for my number. Oh, she said she wants to go and see a movie. I mean, why not? Whatever. Oh, she's like putting her hand on my leg. I'm just saying, like, it would have to, that's the only way you could get me to even possibly consider trying something like that with a woman I worked with, and that still is just an extremely unlikely scenario. You saw what kind of hell I went through just trying to like hang out with one of them. That woman would have to be moving heaven and earth to date me. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't find her unattractive. But I mean, like I said, I'm not about to sit here and be attracted to someone that's trying to screw me out of money. Like, I don't date scammers. whether they're calling me over the phone or working at the same job as me. So, whatever itty bitty attraction I might have felt faded away along with my money when she did her nonsense. Can only imagine a girl being that assertive towards you and wanting to do things with. Dude, they're never. The only one in recent times that's kind of been like that a little bit was the one that said, stale point of disinterest, because she was just like abruptly calling me on piss chords where I would just hear my computer right, but like besides that, they've kind of just been like, go die, like you don't matter. It's so rare to see one of them like actually, and you know what it is, it's like women just don't have to work for anything. They can just exist and men will come their way. Well, not this one. just imagining the hypothetical of like the woman, hey, what's your name? I tell you, that's what that one that I mentioned this earlier. There's like a new girl that works there that asked me what my name was, and like the first thing I asked her in return was, "Why are you going to report me?" Like that's literally just the PTSD of the mixed signals queen. Where every time one of them starts getting friendly, how you doing? Da da da. In the back of my mind, I'm just hearing that train wreck coming every time. I'm never ever letting another one of them do that to me again. I could work there for 10 years and you won't see me get caught up in that once more. It's over. Like I said, I was there for about, let's say I started in November, that was in February. So I was there for 2 months, 2 full months. And those 2 full months, I thought, we're a team. We're all trying to work for the same goal. When I have someone who has the same position as me trying to get me in trouble, like I said, the misreading is over. We know what we're dealing with now. We know what they're about. They've been read all the way through. But I'm very serious when I tell you that managers need to be able to actually be leaders. Like people really think just because someone puts on this uniform and they order people around and they know how to perform the little procedural stuff like counting bills and going into the office and handling paperwork. It's like that still doesn't make you a leader. If you have people working under you in the same damn building that you won't even speak to outside of when you need something done by them, you're not a leader. Like I would say, all the managers I've had at that job, and they've been running through them like left and right. By all the managers there's probably like maybe 4 or 5 that I truly am like, oh yeah, this person, yeah, they know how to lead. They have the Uber manager, the one everybody listens to, right? He'll ask me how I'm doing, etc. Like at least with him, there's like an attempt of a friendly rapport, right? You always feel it, even if you're not like that close to him or you don't really talk outside of that, like those little exchanges, but whatever, like you still feel it. Like, hey, what up? Like, just that's I can see it, like I get it. But with these other ones, man, you'll see them 3, 4, 5 times in the span of 2 weeks, and they won't say a damn word to you unless they want something, and that's a leader. Yeah, that was a huge train wreck. It wasn't even romantic in any way. Just to be friends, it turned ugly real fast. Man, I'm never letting that one down. Like, oh man, I'm never forgetting that one ever. You saw where like once that one girl was talking about I don't do phone calls and all, I was like, yeah, I'm cutting this off. The other one, I was like, I see the parallels. Stuff is lining up a little too much for my taste. Yeah, forget it. I'm really getting sick of these women giving me their numbers and telling me I can't call them. Like, it's stupid. Like, nobody is going to convince me that people have cell phones and they just don't call anyone. Like, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I won't fall for that scam. Sorry. Somebody else might be tricked, but not me. I will not be hoodwinked, bamboozled, conned. Just, it's not working. I'm not a call kind of person. Dude, I really was like, there's no way in hell I ran into two girls. Dude, they must remember what the supposed ex-girlfriend said. You think I'm stupid? It's like, do they really think that I'm gonna be like, well, I guess I can just never call this woman I have the phone number of because she doesn't do calls with any damn body. Oh, it's like, no, I know you're liars. Literally, we see Mixed Signals Queen on the phone every damn time she gets a break. Who's she talking to, herself? Like, get out of my face. They really want you to fall for that. Oh, yeah. They just don't do calls. That's why they have cell phones. They only do text messages. They don't call anybody. Yep. Totally. How weird is that, man? Like, here's my number. When can I call you? Never. And then remember, they don't even respond that well to text either. So it's just like you're double, like just out of luck. Like what is this? What, like, clowns, man. A lot of chicks do some very weird stuff, backtracking and contradicting. Dude, Mixed Signals Queen really wants you to believe she doesn't do phone calls. And then you see her on the phone damn near every break talking to somebody. It's like, go away. They think, I'm not even kidding. Some people, like, you see the subtle, let's just say, problems they have with you to your ethnicity. Like, they really think my color equals dumb. Like, you can say whatever you want and be like, oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Oh yeah, I believe this. It's like, no, I know you're lying. God, like, and imagine like going like to this extent just to stop somebody from having a phone call with you. Like, I could see if I was like, hey, we should be doing calls every night. It's like, I just to talk to one of these, like, dude, girls when I was in middle school didn't even do that. You hear me? Like, that's why I said these women are really devolving. Like, I remember back when I was like 7th, 8th, 9th grade, more specifically 7th and 8th grade, because I was like closer to I would say like I was more open to being friends with female classmates back then than like when I got into high school and everything just turned into a circus. But girls back then didn't go, here's my number, don't ever call me. Like, how do I live in a world where preschool and middle school girls were more open to talking to someone over the phone than adult women? Like what is that? Megumi, I'm very serious when I say this. I wasn't born yesterday. So, like, in spite of not dating however many chicks, like people on here like to pretend that they have, I've talked to a lot of girls that were my age at various points from when I was in school. Ones I've tried to be friends with online. And I start to notice the decay, right? The like subtle ways that they get worse as time passes. And it wasn't until 2018, after I'd already said, man, this woman stuff is just too stupid for me, that I started seeing the girls online, the women online, who go, I don't do phone calls. And I was like, okay, that's just a weird thing these computer ladies are doing. And again, that's like, that was a red flag for me because I thought I was being catfished, or, just, it didn't make any sense to me back then, even back then. So like, I said, okay, well, there's no way somebody in real life is going to do that, right? Like somebody in real life will just not give you their number if they want you to call them. I mean, if I don't want somebody to call me, I'm just not giving you my number. But no, they give you their number. They barely, if not at all, respond to text messages. And if you're like, hey, can we talk for a little bit one of these days, right? Hey, they won't even do that. Like, women are really devolving. The girls I went to in middle school were more open to talking over the phone than adult women. What is that? Very true how you mentioned. No, I'm just explaining that I'm not a kid. I'm not someone who just graduated from high school last year. Like, I have dealt with a lot of these stupid broads. So I know when one of them is lying in many of these cases where just stuff doesn't line up, or things are like getting worse and worse, like just spiraling downward. And remember Mixed Signals Queen. That was someone who was apparently supposed to be a mother. And she's not afraid to try and pop out a kid, but she's afraid to do a phone call. Make that make sense. I'd be the first one to take the bet that if you and I traveled across the entire United States and UK, you would not meet a single man who had either been a father or been close to becoming a father, who if he gave you his number would say, I don't do calls ever. Just That's why I said these girls, man, they make me sick. And it's like, now Mixed Signals Queen has a boyfriend. You think they're only talking by text? Like, give me a break. Just so many lies. So I said these people couldn't tell the truth if you paid them to. It's really sad, man. I'm very just disappointed. A few days ago, I spoke with a chick on Discord that we had a decent conversation. She even said that I was a normal and have a positive vibe that she really liked talking to. I know where this is going. Do I need to finish? She either blocked or unfriended you. That's the that's the only scenario I see. The only way I see this wrapping up. You can call me negative, but we know how this goes. They give you they start, they find you amusing for a while, right? I really want to see how this goes. I feel like I already know the ending though. Oh, you're not going to tell us the rest of the story? That can enlighten us on the epic conclusion that nobody could have seen coming. I'm waiting to see it. I'm waiting with bated breath. Not even 24 hours passed. I sent a message greeting her. She mocks my greeting and sends me a gift with a skull, making a creepy, smug expression. What? I'm a quote. Oh, and it was apparent to me that she blocked me. Wow. Hey, let's quote Mixed Signals Queen. What the hell? You know, I what do we even say at this point? Like, I hate to keep bringing everything back to the clowns I deal with, but that's why when I did the Discord one video, I was like, I have to put the audio in here because I wanted you to hear the same voice praising me, talking about I'm her favorite person in this VC at this moment, right? Oh, you're gonna come to my country I'm in? I'll give you a tour. To a week later, oh, you're hurt because a blank rejected you. I wanted you to see it. I mean, in record time, they switch, they turn, they shift, they change, they morph. Instead of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you have Mighty Morphin Women. Like, you just can't take anything with them seriously. They're just a bunch of clowns. Them and the men that defend them. What the hell would I look like? I'm talking to somebody, and then I'm like, oh yeah, you're very funny, you're a nice person to talk to, chill, whatever words they want to use, their little stupid lingo. And then one day later, you go hi, and I'm like, here's my skull expression, then you're blocked. Like, what is that? I didn't get upset or anything. I was like, yeah, whatever, never seen that before. That's gonna be the new catchphrase. Every time a woman does something stupid, it's like, oh, this one said she liked me and is like now ignoring me when I send her DMs or blocked me. Wow, never seen that before. Imagine as I say that, I just like superimpose all the previous instances of that happening, like just flashing in the background. They're like, I don't have the editing software to do that. I get the stream and then like cut out the background and just as I say, wow, never seen that before. You see like all the messages of them doing this weird stuff. I wish the ones that blocked me would actually keep me blocked because if there's one thing these new chicks love, it's drama, man. I told you about the girl that would from the live drama stream where she is one of only 2 people on Discord I have blocked. And that was because she just kept sending all of these like unhinged, angry messages. Like, what is wrong with you? And when you sit in the VC with her, she sounds like a normal person. Oh yeah, I just was playing this game and I am totally being bullied by these people and they were being toxic and like again, you think, okay, well, maybe she's just upset over something, which is why I did what I did with that stream and like came in there. But no, she's just crazy. Oh, because it's happened so many damn times, not a surprise all anymore. The plot twist is no longer a twist because it's been done to death. It's just the same thing repeating itself every year. Oh yeah, that chick is crazy. Dude, I didn't even get to. If I did a video on her, which I don't think I would, because she hasn't resurfaced, but man, there was one guy because I entertained it, right? Like I was writing stuff back, like I wanted to talk to you, and when you unfriended me, I had tears in my eyes, just messing with her. But this one guy, he didn't respond to her at all, and he had an entire set of private messages of her going off on him with like no reply. Like it's just her talking to herself in his DMs. Again, when my thing, like, okay, I fed into it, whatever, but like he he didn't say anything to her. It's just what the hell is that? I'm serious. He sent me the screenshot and it's a whole page of just her typing and typing and typing. And it's like he won't even respond because he's like, what do I even say? Because I tried to make amends with her when she started doing the whole like, give me your stream, send me your stream, send me your stream. I was like, I'm not going to send you a stream where I talked about how stupid you were. If you're so unstable that you'll get mad at me for something I didn't even do, your friends were bullying me. It's like, yeah, I'm not about to try to get you involved with me on other sites. No, kick rocks. Forget that. Let's see if our favorite side switcher is still in that VC. Let me look. Nope, finally left. Man, she was in there all damn night. Like I got off work at 12 in the morning and I looked, they gave me a break around 8 p.m. yesterday. So that's like probably 10 hours ago at this point, right? Man, she was in there and then she was still in there when I got back at 12 and then like throughout this like when the stream started, which was like at like 3 my time, still in there, like just go away, just weird. Because they aren't held accountable for anything they do, they are absolutely unhinged and tend to lack basic social skills. Well, the thing about her that was nice was that everybody was seeing how crazy she was. Like we all had these DMs of her just acting nuts. To where like they had a whole group chat of everybody's being like, what is wrong with her? So that was one of the few instances where people, it's kind of like, it kind of mirrors the thing with Mixed Signals Queen, where like at first it was just me having this private grudge towards someone that I think treated me badly, right? And okay, well, I guess they're gonna just make it like online. People made me sound like I was crazy, and she was either right or I did something wrong. You know what I'm talking about, right? But like in the context of the job, other people have talked about how insane and weird and crazy she is as well. Her and her 3 men. I'm just imagining she has the damn Christmas Carol song because she's gonna be there until Christmas because they just won't get rid of her. So like imagine that like on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me. And then we go like you go down the numbers and it's like 3 men, two stand-ups from trying to meet in person, 1 BS report. It just feels nice whenever people get together and like, yeah, this woman is crazy. Oh, hey, 6 weeks of, I'll let you know. That's gonna be the. Imagine I have like a Christmas album and like there's the Mixed Signals Queen song and I write out the lyrics. That goes to show you aren't alone in noticing how crazy and insane these chicks are. It feels good every time it happens because, like, when you're dealing with some wacky woman, it often feels like you're on an island, like you're just floating there by yourself, putting up with her nonsense. But no, other people are seeing it too. They're like, hey, this thing with her is not normal, is it? Nobody says anything about their poor behavior. They let them get away with this. Just like with that crazy manager. I bet you no one else is going to talk. Like the only person I've seen reflect on her at all besides me is that same guy that's talking about he wants to ask her on a date. I'm going to try to be funny. Like, sometimes I wonder, and I'm not even like, again, I'm not trying to be funny, but when you hear stuff like that, don't you kind of wonder, like, does he meet women anywhere else? Like, you liked one manager romantically, and then you got mad that you found out she had a boyfriend or whatever. Uh, Now there's a new one that you're attracted to, and what is the end goal here? Like, if you're not going to ask him out, or again, like do it in like a subtle way, right? Like, hey, how are you doing? It was like that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like what is the end goal here? I really like don't get what his plan is. Like, I'm gonna lust after this unattainable woman, and then if I go up and ask her on a date and she's like, then I'll get in trouble and possibly lose my job because I couldn't just accept that she's off limits. Like, there are women who are married that I think look pretty. I don't go up and start thinking of, how can I get her away from her significant other? I wonder. I don't do that. They are love starved and probably have never experienced being in a relationship but want to. Well, he says that he had some woman before. I mean, he says that. So I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just kind of like and I'm this is just my opinion. I feel like a lot of the guys who start pining after these different girls, and like a lot of the guys in my comment section were all the crap about, oh, if you just did this, da da da. Do you do you notice where it almost seems like you start to wonder how many of them have actually like talked to women, like have spoken to several of them or several dozen of them or 100 of them? Like, you get where you kind of wonder, like, how many times do these guys actually talk to a woman? Like, in your mind, you ever get curious about that? Because think about this. This guy was one of the main ones who was telling me, at least in real life, oh man, you can get with a woman if you just do this or do that or wear this or say that. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. They're not worth doing all this stuff for. If society is so equal, then they would go out and ask out men they liked, and things would actually reflect, this supposed equality everybody's preaching that they want. Um, but I was like wondering. I said, I never see this guy. Like, I've never heard him talk about like, oh yeah, I met this woman at the mall. I met this woman at the library. I met this woman walking down the street. It's always him pining after some girl or some woman at the job. There was a lady that worked in the I think it was like a kitchen or whatever, and he was like, I called dibs. I don't know if you remember that one, right? And I was like, how do you call dibs on someone that you won't even like talk to? And I couldn't care less about her, even if I thought she was attractive. I couldn't care less because, again, I've been through them. But I'm just saying, like, doesn't that make you kind of wonder, like, Does he actually meet or speak to women outside of here at all? Because you remember, like, Mixed Signals Queen did not exist in a vacuum. Like, she came off the heels of the insanity of that one girl from last year that had the boyfriend that was saying that he believed we were supposedly cheating, even though we live in two whole completely hundreds of miles away from each other's states, right? Just something that made no sense, and how she couldn't stand up for him. But my thing is the experiences of all of these garbage, trash tier women online, and in some cases, a few in real life too, led me to just be like, okay, look, I can't, I can't be romantic with any of them. Let me just try to be friends with one of them. But again, that's based off of so many bad experiences with this just lousy group, right? You know that I do sometimes think like, okay, yeah, these guys defend girls. Yeah, these guys say if you just keep trying this or you wear that or whatever, whatever. But like, how many of them actually talk to women? Like, how many are going and, oh man, I met this girl at the mall last week. She gave me her number. Oh, I met this girl on, even if it's like online, Twitter, right? And she's like DMing me. I'm just curious. There are guys who choose to try and not let their bags put them off from lusting after chicks they find attractive, probably. Right. But what I'm saying is that with some of these guys, like the way he responded to me, it's like he had never heard some of this stuff, right? Oh, you got some woman that agrees to marry you and then she reneges after a couple of days. Oh, you have some woman that sits up there and says all this nasty stuff to you and then it goes nowhere. It was almost like I was speaking another language, but that's because I really wonder, maybe he just doesn't have that many, like, okay, maybe he dated a woman, right? Or two. But in terms of just all the machinations of the different ways it can go wrong, and oh look, here's a new one. Oh, she just blocked me. Oh, here's a new one. Oh, she just stopped responding. Oh, here's a new one. Oh, she just doesn't like me back. Like, just I wonder how many of them have actually been through that, because what I was told by one guy is that a lot of these guys that do this like online, defend the woman no matter what stuff, they don't actually talk to them. Like, they'll go on one of my videos and talk trash about me and all these like nasty comments. But we've talked about this before. None of them ever proved they're with a woman. And that's because many of them don't even talk to women. They just vicariously appear to defend these girls that, remember, we know they don't know, they've never spoken to. If they're in my stuff, they're not famous. They're just like random chicks they're backing the cause of. And it's like, what is the point of that? But again, you wonder, like, are you actually speaking to any women? Are you talking to any of them? Are you friends with any of them? Is there some list of them that you're trying to corral to get to know you and I mean, like, I really am curious about that. Okay, that is true. It's worth thinking about. So it makes you think, have they actually really spoken to a dozen number of them? I don't think they have. I think a lot of these guys, maybe they talk to like, it's almost, some of them really do believe that if you just like keep waiting, it'll just happen. And then some of them, maybe they had like one, two, three that they've talked to, but like the avalanche of just bad, garbage, awful woman after bad, garbage, awful woman. Like, I'm not kidding. I really think some of them have never been through that, or have been through very little of it. Because when they refute me, they're not like responding with an accurate retort that cites off some statistic or some great amazing experience that they can guarantee will happen if you just talk to 700 or a million. No, like, they literally just go, you did something wrong, stop doing this, magic different result will happen. Like, there's no rebuttal. It's just, I am vaguely opposed to what you are saying here, without ever actually responding to why you would be sick or upset by that, period. Like, it's weird. but it makes a lot of sense if you consider that these guys don't have any like having to do's with them. This could honestly be a good idea to make a video out at some point, to be honest. But what would you even call it? How many men have actually talked to women? Or maybe, romance, I have experience. Oh, weird men and their cowardice. We had weird men and their fake success, weird men and their I don't even know what you would call it. That's one of the problems. Like, I'm stumped for a title. I don't know. It's something I've really started thinking about because I'm like, there's no way that if these guys have had as many bad experiences, that they're going to be like, oh yeah, magic woman just shows up and everything just works out. It's like they really do like live on this alternate realm where they barely talk to any of them at all, or if they have talked to them, they didn't like say, "Oh, I like you," and then had the the whole "I don't like you that way." Let's stop speaking to each other crap. So I guess they're more naturally optimistic, but it's like they're still not refuting anything I'm saying. It's just vague opposition. I'm really wondering why I could even put as the title. Weird men in their unprecedented women experiences. Weird men in their lack of experience. I'm serious. Like I really do wonder how many of them have actually been through this. It's something I start thinking more and more about. Who else did something weird? Let me think. I'm trying to think what other strange stuff have we seen over the last few days or weeks. Oh yeah. So I don't know what to name the video about the girl that was talking about if I heard your voice more, I would want more because it's just so weird and I don't know what you would call it. But there was something she said that I want to relate back to this point I keep making, and I was making it before you showed up. So when I had that one girl say she liked me romantically, I did not intend on ever revealing that because it's not a victory for me to be like, oh yeah, a woman said she liked me and I turned her down. Just that doesn't make me feel good. I tried to be as gentle as I could, and I gave specific reasons of this why this cannot work. Like this is not what I am seeking. I laid it out for as matter of factly as I thought I'd be able to. And one of the things that if I heard your voice more, I would want more, woman said, was that she likes to feel the touch of her partner or something or da da da. And I said, isn't it interesting that things are because I've always talked about how people can have something, but then still have nothing or not have the intended desirable aspects of that thing, right? Like, oh, I'm married, but I don't like spending time with my partner. They annoy me, but oh, they're good for money or image or whatever other little unimportant thing I can use to justify this horrid existence. I thought it was interesting that one of the things I said was how, so again, this girl said the partner's touch, how you can have a partner, in this hypothetical where I had agreed to date her, this other one from this other country, but then you still would not have the partner's touch because of how far away they are. You know what I mean? It's yeah, you have a girlfriend in I didn't want to say name only, like in the abstract sense of someone who says that you are in a supposed relationship with them, but all you guys can do is run your mouths over the computer. I just thought it was funny. It's like, oh yeah, we are a couple, and we do couple things like just stare at each other on webcams and say what we would like to do to the other person if we were there. Like, yay, what fun. But I'll tell you, that's been like a running theme where I've just been more and more fascinated by this idea of like getting what you want, but then it still is not actually the thing that you wanted. Where like I talked about the script where it's the the man who wanted to have a family, and then there's an alternate universe where he had a daughter, but then the daughter has his powers and is using it for evil. It's a complete opposite with one of the kids, where it's like, again, what's the point of having it if it's this bad? Uh, just I just think stuff like that's so interesting because it just shows you how people create in their minds this idea of how something is supposed to go or be, and then when it's not that way, it's like a shock to them. Like, I can't believe I thought this person or this thing would be great or good, but it actually is pretty abysmal and terrible. It's like entertaining the thought of what you want by merely talking about it with them. Right, but it still is not an upgrade. Like, think about this. You go every day and nobody touches you. You don't have parents that hug you. You don't have relatives that just come up and go, "Hey, let me shake your hand. Let me give you an embrace and let you know somebody's missing you when you're not here." Uh, and the only like as this is going on, you see people, couples holding hands, kissing, not overtly, romantic stuff, but just little like things that they do in public to let people know, or just to like demonstrate how much they like the other person, even if a lot of it is just theatrics. And you're like, well, why can't I have that? And you go, oh yeah, I'm in this relationship, but my partner is in another country and they are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and it's going to cost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to see them. Like, yay! I mean, again, who would look at that and be excited? I wouldn't. I'm just telling you that, like, when I look at this stuff, I can't help but notice the very glaring absence of the most appealing parts of even having this stuff in the first place. Like I said, you really want to date somebody and just you can't you can't do anything with them besides talk. You can do that with a woman at your job or a woman that you see down the street. Hmm. You say, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'm just telling you that it's relationships, again, they sound really nice on paper, right? Like a good idea, but when you when you've dealt with as many nuances as I think we both have, you start to see the cracks in the armor. Like I mentioned before, the only girlfriend I ever had, it's like, she was so nice. And after that week, that month of being nice, that week the week afterward was followed by or was it was 7 days of just a nightmare on earth. I mean, every single time you talk to this person, hey, can I get some money? Hey, can I get this? Can you buy me that? And just at a certain point, you say to yourself, why am I doing this? And man, for me, this was like the biggest disappointment ever because everybody hyped up how great being with a woman was or having a girlfriend was, and it was trash. It was lousy. I regretted every minute of it. And I said, if that's as good as being with one of them can be, I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life. I'm not. I don't make any jokes about that. Like you get the chameleon act going of acting really nice before the relationship starts, and then after you agree to this, you're like you become the piggy bank. I mean, what is that? LDRs, man, it's honestly so difficult and actually still doesn't really fulfill your desire in being with someone because you can't see or touch them in person. Well, added to the fact that they're against your long-term goals. Like this is inherently going to be something that is long-term. So for them to say, "Oh yeah, I'm this age and I never want to have kids," even though I know you want to have them. It's like, well, what are we doing here? Yeah, that woman you dated back then was extremely unfortunate for you. Man, people hyped up women for years. They made them sound like they were these amazing, great, terrific things to have in your life. And it you know what? It's kind of like if somebody was excited about driving a car. For years, everybody talks about like when you get in the car, man, you can just drive wherever you want. Da, da, da. And you get in your car, and the first day of driving it, or the first week of driving it, I should say, the wheels start popping off, the radio explodes. It's like leaking oil. So every time you drive past certain areas, there's just like these fires being set. I mean, it was bad. They hyped them up so much. Being with a woman is so great. No, it wasn't. It was horrific. Every day you look on your phone and you're dreading if you're going to get another text message from the beggar. Oh, that's even much worse. I tell you, when I finally got my car, I couldn't believe it. I thought I was dreaming. I was like, this can't be true. I must have like passed away and gone to heaven on accident. Oh boy. Oh man, I miss having damn doors that closed. I really do. Not doors that closed. The damn we call it things to cover up the windows, where you just like you can close it up and you have to hear stuff outside. Because these animals in the morning and in those like hours during where people are sleeping, they are loud. You can hear them all just throughout the whole night. But yeah, man, tomorrow is going to be really somber for me. Just it never ends, you know. When you get to a point where you can just feel something missing, um, and there never really seems to be a gain. Like there's never a thing where you're like, okay, at least I have this, right? At least this happened. And this was what caused friction between me and that guy that's now talking about wanting to date the stupid manager. It's like he tried to say I was a glass half empty person, and that I always complain about things but don't acknowledge. It's like what good things I said, dude. It's when something is bad, I'm gonna say it's bad. It's really that simple. I mean, if I'm dissatisfied with things, why do I have to, in some laying out of what is bothering me, go, oh, but at least this is occurring? Like, the hell? So people use these little stupid terms to make themselves sound smarter. It's really funny and annoying because it's like you're trying to have an adult conversation and people want to just throw around nicknames. You're an I word. You're this word. Like, can you actually listen to what I'm saying? No? Okay. Forgot that's too difficult. That's too tough. That doesn't compute. Mm. That should be a whole new series, just weird men, like weird men in their fake success, weird men in their Discord leader, weird men in their credibility gap, where they're like saying one thing and then if you actually go out and experience it, it's something else. Isn't that so funny how like we do a video on random women, on just like, yeah, random women and random guys show up to defend them. I do a video on random men, and you know that there won't be a single woman, probably even a single guy, that comes in that comment section going, leave these poor men alone. I find that so fascinating because I've said before, the saddest thing about guys is that no one cares about us, like in general. So it's even sadder when we're like sitting here and caping for these random girls that aren't even like, they aren't doing anything, right? But just existing. And it's like, what do you expect to get out of doing that? But also it's like it's even sadder when you know that they have such a low opinion in terms of the value of their fellow man, like, right? Not just, they don't care about each other at all. So if they can't even care about each other, why would these random women that they treat like gods give a hoot either? Like what incentive would they have to pick up to like pick up the mantle of caring? I'm just debating what I'll do tomorrow. I know some of the places he'd like to go. Could drive to one of those. I don't know. I can't help but feel that bitterness every year. You had all these people that and believed cared about you, would call you, would do things with you, and I don't have that anymore. And I fought for it. I have tried in multiple cases to just be friends with some of these different chicks, but it's never enough. And I'm always the first one to say that I'm a sore loser. I mean, if I don't get something I want, I'll be fully resentful because I just think that effort should matter, like there shouldn't be some arduous quest to just be friends with someone or to get a date or to really have any kind of just interaction in general. Because even when I hear about like reasons people get married of like the security aspect and whatnot, it's like even that doesn't like on paper sound that difficult to me. But a lot of this romance stuff is just such a whirlwind of, you know, did you do this right? Did you say this correctly? Did you wear this? I mean, you just get to a point where you can't take any of it seriously anymore because at every turn there's going to be this group of guys who go, "Your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault, your fault," and then when it comes to women, they turn a blind eye. There's nothing they can do wrong ever. And I guess we'll close out on a little bit more of a serious topic. So I've always tried to say, when it comes to like the ending your life stuff, it's not something I say for sympathy. It's not something I say to try and like get people to feel whatever. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I think that if a person has goals, um, that can give them a reason to want to stick around. But when they have goals that they want to complete, but not a person to share those with or to otherwise be invested in the interest of seeing achieve theirs as well, it can play a direct role in making that person feel like, well, I guess once I do this stuff that I want to do, I can just check out. I mean, there's not really a point in me still being here anymore if I've already completed my, mission. And it really just comes down to, I think the most fulfilling lives are the ones where there are people who uh, someone can feel an investment in. And when they don't have that because everything is just so backwards and the whole I don't want kids women group seems to get larger and larger every year, it just doesn't give you as much of an incentive. You may have a different opinion of this, but I've always felt that having a partner makes you more motivated in pursuing certain goals, gives you an add-on to keep reason to keep going. Well, I was going to say that I've said again, like going back to the aspect of when women actually are useful to a man and vice versa. There have been plenty of couples that have benefited each other. I mean, I brought up Robert Caro earlier, right? The Lyndon Johnson biographer, and his wife would help him with his editing. There are couples that have bought homes together. There are couples that have written books together. I know that Angela Bassett and her husband, I believe, wrote a book together several years ago or over a decade ago at this point. But I'm just telling you that yes, partners, when they're actual beneficial, good partners, can tremendously influence someone's life in a positive direction or add on to them. Unfortunately, we don't really have that. We have a lot of girls who only get attention paid to them because of their gender, and you just you just don't see the same level of investment. But like I said, there's plenty of couples where that has happened in the past. I just think it's harder to get that because even when you have someone that you have things in common with, it still doesn't pad out. Like I know a girl right now that likes to draw. I can barely get her to write one reply to me a week to where I basically just stopped trying. I was like, this is stupid. But again, it's like at a certain point, you just have to hang up the hat and say, look, this is not going anywhere. I just don't have the patience for this. Goodbye. I really don't like being that, you know, just defeatist about it. But if you go out and try over and over again and you get the same results, it becomes harder to like muster the desire to keep this charade going. Telling you the real truth here. I mean, it's difficult to really be into this stuff that way when there's just not an advancement. It's the payoff that really counts and makes you have an incentive to keep initiating. Yeah. But it seems like all we can get out of them is just them running their mouths and, you know, they don't have to deal with the fallout, right? The guys that just spring up out the blue, oh, you did this wrong. So that's why I said it's hard to really feel that investment. I'm just thinking about these couples. Like we had the Carters. They would go around building houses for homeless people. Um, I know that Beyonce and Jay-Z have made music together. That's another thing. A lot of singers are married or dating other singers, and they put out songs together, which is like again a benefit for both of them because they're boosting both of them together. Or like you had Biggie and Faith Evans. I mean, there's a lot of like overlap of just musicians assisting each other when they're together. It's pretty surreal to think about that. Like, if I were someone who like I don't make music, I've written lyrics before, but I have no talent with like performing any instruments or whatever. I'm just telling you the truth. But I genuinely believe I could be someone who knows how to play every single instrument, and I still probably would not find a partner. Um, and the reason I say is because it's like I like to draw. I know girls that like to draw. It doesn't change, and then we usually we send each other our art. I'll say something nice about theirs, something nice about mine. Talk for like a day or two, and then like they barely respond. I'm just like, okay, well, this is going nowhere. Same thing with the ones that like to write. The one that thought I was her ex-boyfriend. We were having a whole very lovely several-day dialogue about writing. And guess what? It all got thrown in the trash because she wanted to hurl her unfounded, unsubstantiated, crackpot conspiracy theory allegation. It can be so fruitful and beneficial when both agree and genuinely want to be together, create something together. Yeah. And something you said before, by the way. Dude, I'll never forget when I was talking to Triple L about how like I had nothing but stories. She's like, that's all any of us have. I'm like, dingbat, no, it's not. There are couples that are divorced. They still had kids together. Those kids are walking, talking, breathing testaments to the fact that these two people liked each other enough to engage in one of the most intimate ways known to man. I'm trying to get some other examples. That actually happens with a lot of politicians, like spouses in the United States, where their spouse usually is someone that appears them on the campaign trail. Um, wears like little stuff with their name on it, and it's like a campaign surrogate, right? Like they go around the campaign for him. Something about 6 years ago, you said that you used to be excited at the prospect of being friends with a chick who had the same interests as you. Yeah, I used to. I said, hey, it's nice to have someone who likes the same thing, but later down the line, you would notice that it didn't matter at all. It doesn't. Like it's a brief at best, it's a brief conversation starter. And again, we'll send each other stuff about like we'll talk about something for a little bit, and then it just deteriorates. Like I can go and show you the messages with the girl that said I was her ex-boyfriend. We were having a really nice dialogue about writing in this book I wanted to do. And after a few days, I didn't want it to go that way. I fought hard to beat the nonsense, but she just wanted to peddle it so badly. She was like, "You are my ex-boyfriend. You are my ex-boy. I was like, no, I'm not. You're not my ex-girlfriend. I never dated you. We dated. No, we didn't. We dated. No, we didn't. I tried, man. Those first 3 days were nice. She just had to ruin it. I would have never guessed in a million years that if I DM'd one of the random girls in that server, it would turn into that. I tell you, they're finding new ways to just like throw me off, and where I'm like, huh? When she first hurled that allegation that Thursday when I was at my job and I went and sat down in the bathroom to go and like answer her, I was like, are you serious? Here we go again, man. Just like I told you about the one girl where I said, I hope you get a good rest. Are you flirting with me? I was like, huh? What? And there's a new trend where every time I tell one of them I can leave, we don't have to speak anymore, they don't do it. I told her when she was trying to say that I sent her some fake account that wasn't mine, when I sent her a picture of me logged in, hey, look, if you want to talk to me, that's fine, but don't sit here and act like I'm making all these accounts just to talk to you. We had the which one was that? Oh yeah, there's another one. I have like no screenshots of her because we only talked in VCs, but she said I was annoying, and I said, okay, well, if you don't want to talk to me, I can disconnect from this call. And she's like, well, I don't run the server. Oh, and you heard in the video, you know, I can disconnect if you want. You're good. So I said, man, I don't know what it goes through their minds. Oh, let me explain the acronym that's in the stream's title. I don't know if you saw the ZWP. So during the Future Trunks arc for Super, Zamasu has what they call a zero mortals plan, where he basically wants to just take out all the humans. And it's so stupid because it's like, if you want all the humans gone, why don't you just, you know, just destroy the earth in one fell blow, like one blast, right? That would do it. But that's his thing, the zero mortals plan. So ZWP stands for the zero women plan, where I'm just like so sick of them and talking to them and trying to be friends with them that outside of my job, I really don't have anything to do with any of them. Like besides working there, and there's like one or two relatives, right? Very little, like, because there's no benefit from this. I've had a lot of my time wasted. I've had some that I've really liked and gotten some results I really did not like. So I made it an acronym because I felt like if I made it the actual like thing, right, they would be like, oh, look at what he's calling for violence. Like, no, I don't want anybody to do anything. I did forget to ask what that might have meant. I don't want anybody to do anything to women other than just stop speaking to them. Well, now you know, Megumi, it stands for the zero women plan. We don't want to talk. I'm not even trying to be funny. Right now on Piscord, I just spoke to yesterday the one from the UK. That's the one I really like. And I actually met her before most of the other ones. Which is funny that she's like outlasted all the rest of them. But that one and this other one from, I think, Canada. And besides that, that's really it. Like, the other ones are just kind of around. If I see them online, I might write something, but you know, usually I'll just be like, okay, whatever, I'm not going to bother with you anymore. So they really are being phased out. Pretty, like, I'm not at my job every day or even for like It's like it's a decent amount of my time per week, but it's not like I don't go multiple days where I just don't go there. So hypothetically, I could start, the zero women plan, or just enact it anytime I'm not working. Like when you're doing something related to getting some money, that's one thing. But in terms of just you must talk to them and speak to them when they're in these different servers with you. When I was in the VC this morning, they had one VC that had like two or three different girls in there. I didn't go in at all because, like, again, what's the point? You try to act nice towards them, they act crazy. They're nice at the start, but they start going and getting insane. So that's why I said this really is the beginning of my zero women plan. I don't want to talk to any more of them. It doesn't mean I don't find them attractive. I certainly think the one at my job that was acting nice was, cute or whatever. But I have no desire to just like keep entertaining this nonsense. I'm just like so daring. Maybe in like a week I'll change, or like after the stream or whatever. But I'm just like picturing just, oh, Saturday Smackdown, the zero women plan. Yeah, it makes sense. Although it does, you don't ever have at least one friend at this. Well, you know what it is. It's like, I'm not kidding. Ever since that girl did that thing, I just don't want to take the risk. There are plenty. There's like I think I mentioned there's like two, three different girls at the job I really like. Um, but I just don't want to risk it. I don't need another one of them trying to throw me off a bridge. I know I would never do that to them. I told you there was a girl who hugged me. I didn't go, oh my God, I felt so uncomfortable. It's whatever. Like, just it happens. But if that thing with her hadn't happened in February, I would almost certainly at this point have been like, all right, let me try somebody else. Maybe see if we can get something good going here. And I mentioned that there was one girl where I asked her, can I send you a message? As long as it's not one of those kind of messages, right? That one. And then you have the other one with her whole I don't even text members, I don't even call members of my, just when you see stuff like that, it just turns your stomach. Imagine we start making that like an acronym and nobody knows what it means until they watch like through the whole stream. I know when you saw those letters, you're like, what is ZWP? They have the DWP, Department of Water and Power. No, not that one. We have our own department. You go to the 18 plus server and they have kids in there that are like 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I said, hey, look, we need to enact the zero minors plan. Yeah. Dude, I can't stand going in a server for adults and you hear a boy that sounds like this. Go away. they have boys in some of these servers that whose voices are so high pitched that they pretend to be girls. They call themselves traps. It's like, no, it's stupid. I mean, my voice used to be higher pitched when I was in fourth, fifth, sixth grade. I don't know why in the world I'd want to. Well, it is. Oh, well, yeah, I guess so. We can't expect anything good from that site. I have met some decent people on there, so there's always that one silver lining. Bala Megumi, what do you think of this of the zero women plan? Do you think it's a good one? Because like I said, I've tried for a very long time to just like get along with them, but the consistent through line across like the years since I just the years right since I stopped trying to get one of them to like me romantically is that I really don't talk to that many of them or any of them at all besides when I work somewhere. And even if I speak to one, you know, it's usually not with the intention of like I like the UK one. I think she this were me 3-4 years ago and she didn't have a boyfriend, I might have asked her like said, hey, look, I like you this way, etc. If you want to talk to me or whatever. But when it comes to the rest of them, when you see how hard it is to just like be friends, like to just talk. Hey, how you doing? It's like it makes you not. It turns your stomach. You don't want to deal with them. I'm hearing the police this early. Oh no! So someone's already been. I don't even want to imagine. I'm serious. I would love to sit here and tell you about all the benefits that have come from opening myself up to them again, but I couldn't. So I think it's time we enacted the ZWP. It's very understandable that you reached this point in the way I started doing this some time ago as well. And look, it doesn't mean that if you see one, you act nasty and hostile and like some card carrying villain, right? But just when you see one, just remember if this goes south, shouldn't be too surprised. Look at what they've done in the past. I just feel it is very fruitless and unrewarding, a lot of disappointment. Yeah. And again, it's like, how many more years is this going to go on for? Like, how many more of them have to do the same stupid stuff before we just say, look, I can't take this anymore? This is so obnoxious. The zero women play. I don't want to talk to any more of them. You guys can have them. Do we have anything left to say, or do you want to wrap this up? Because I am getting kind of tired now. It's 7 a.m. I haven't slept since I woke up 11 a.m. yesterday. Yeah. Damn, that's almost. Wow, that's 20 hours. But yeah, do you have anything else left to say? Because I'm kind of. I think I tried to stay to give you a full 2 hours at least. I think you arrived like after about an hour or something. So let me know if you have any further comments, statements, thoughts, theories, concerns, aggravations. I do have some chicks, not that many, that would invite themselves in a voice call. I'm in with some other guys. Well, like I said, you don't have to be mean, but just don't get too comfortable with them because they will toss you like a rock. Most of the times they barely say anything and act weird. Yeah, that's another thing I've noticed. They just sit in these calls and like if they're like that's why the one that was in that Discord win video, it's like she's talking about how inappropriate what I wrote to her was. This girl was in that call talking about what characters in some games she wanted to put behind the sheets. Like you just how do you do that, you know? Like how do you say someone saying they missed you is inappropriate, but then oh yeah, I want to do this to this character. That's not that's what I said, man. Just never an honest word. The ZWP. We gonna be anything left to say? So I can get something to eat because I am actually getting kind of hungry now. And remember, if you want to be a leader, it's more than just a promotion. You have to be able to manage personalities, talk to people, figure out what makes them tick, keep them happy if as best you can, if it doesn't compromise the business. I have to watch it since I missed the first half. But yeah, thanks for the stream. All right, well, I'll be back. I got to work on Monday, so I'll probably do it on Tuesday again if that's all right with you. But yeah, thanks for showing up. And as bad as these women are, at least there are decent men like Megumi. So that's like that's the one silver lining in a cloud of crap. Have a good weekend.